My wardrobe was never meant to survive the zombie apocalypse. Turns out, if you want to survive, or at the very least avoid a fearsome rash, you need a lot of pants. And judging by experience, there were many brown moments.
Oh, wow! Oh!
Yes, there were many involuntary pants incidents. There were also car crashes.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of deaths.
I'm dead. No! Not while I'm sleeping! Not like this! Okay, just, yeah. Have your way with me. I'm going down again!
Come to think of it, there weren't many positives or much progress at all. This might be because it's my first time playing, or it might just be my noodle head. So please grab my hand and hold it tight through this whole ordeal, because I was never meant to do this alone. This is 100 questionable days of Project Zomboid.
Project Zomboid. Project Zomboid. Project Zomboid. 3 different languages. Maybe that just counts as 2.
Survivor would be my playstyle. Powerful combat with the longest expected lifespan. We'll see about that. I chose Rosewood, Kentucky to start my trials and tribunals.
Select occupation and trades. Unemployed. Yeah.
We're not role-playing as myself here, so I meander down the list.
What can I be? Mechanic, metalworker, engineer. Seems to be blue-collar men here.
I liked Burglar for its nimble and sneaking disposition, and our skewed morale will likely not harm anyone in the zombie apocalypse anyway, at least not the living.
Makes more noise when moving, that removes the whole purpose of sneaking.
Offsetting the positive traits, I settle on Sleepyhead, Slow Reader, and Sunday Driver, as those look to be the least detrimental options available.
The palest of survivors. Chest hair, that's a given.
I've never seen a zombie with chest hair, so it was an obvious choice, really. I traveled through the phases, emo to boy band, all the way to I've been to prison.
Look at those hips. I got mama hips. Those are way too thick for a guy.
The good Will Hunting look mashed together with big haunches gave me the most confidence. As it should.
Okay, what's our name? It's gonna be Bob Tinkletower. Bob Tinkletower. I like it.
Bob would be my first sacrificial pawn to release upon the world.
These are the end times. There was no hope of survival. This is how you died. Uplifting beginning.
Same as real life, honestly.
I have enabled a couple of mods.
Quality of life stuff, like the minimap in the bottom right corner, a larger progress indicator, a check mark for already read books, that kind of stuff. All suggested by the Zomboid Redditors.
Full disclosure, I have played this game for about an hour.
And during that hour, I managed to figure out how to turn off the TV and open my inventory. I wasn't a very bright baby, but I was a happy baby. In the kitchen, I found a can opener next to a cabinet stocked with canned food, where I only grabbed the 2 cans of chili. Don't ask me why.
Frying pan. Why would I need a frying pan? For a weapon, obviously.
The fridge was full of fresh condiments, so electricity was a non-issue.
Slight panic. Do your best to remain calm. Why? Oh, me. There's a zombie right outside the window. No, don't open it. What am I doing? I don't have a weapon. Okay. Let's do this. I think I can push him down. Yeah. Oh. That was easy. Oh, no, she's still alive! Get a curb stop that ass! Close the window. Close the window. Close the window. Isn't there, like, drapes or anything? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Just ruined my living room. Why'd you do this?
Rhetorical question. I'm aware her brains were already mush well before I smeared them on my living room's floor.
Can I clean this up? Sit on ground. Yes. Trophy picture. Let's go.
In an otherwise empty bathroom, I washed off all that zombie essence and found I could either speed up or pause time. That would come in handy later. I then grabbed the frying pan anyway, equipping it in my primary slot.
This is my zone of terror right here. You get inside here, you're gonna get cooked. So I guess my objective is just to survive.
I'm making it out to be such a trivial task, a shrug of the shoulders. How hard can it really be? Well, I'll show you soon enough.
I have a map. I have a big map. This is the map. Jesus, it's astronomically huge.
Yes, the map is rather large. I tried to mark the location of my house, but I was missing the necessary tools, namely a pen. I found one in this drawer alongside a comic book and doodled a little house. In the eyes of the Zomboid lords, this was now my designated safe house. With a crouching band of 45 degrees, I took my first trepidatious steps outside the comfort of my home.
Hello? Oh, did she see me hold? Oh my god, okay. Bring it, lady. Oh, you're not dead. There we go.
Another zombified grandma came my way.
Die! You should be very accustomed to this kind of kitchen utensils. Silver ring, she was married.
They're walking tragedies. This shed looked interesting, but it was protected by some magical lock. By right-clicking, I found I could disassemble the door, though not without a hammer, so I applied the culture of my people.
Oh. Oh, two of you? Ah! Oh, got them both.
I hammered away at their durable heads for quite a while until there was nothing left but pulp.
How do I choose which one to loot? Here's something. Baggy jeans, socks, bra. Animal print. Beautiful. Could I get in here? I am a burglar after all. No, okay.
Violently flinging the frying pan did the trick, and I climbed on through to find some crafting material and a metal bar, replacing the frying pan, attaching it to my back for swift access.
Pretty good start though. Pretty good start. What am I even doing? I'm trying to survive. Oh, look here. I'm peckish already and I'm thirsty. Let's go in and drink.
I grabbed and munched on a few pickles from the fridge.
Pickles.
And quenched the thirst with some tasty tap water before scouting my next door neighbor's house. The fence proved to be trouble until I found the sprint key and managed to B&E this window. But I'm the worst burglar, as entering the window proved challenging and clunky. I wasn't overly enthused with having to right-click to enter. Well inside, I grabbed a few apples from the fridge, leaving the cheese, and raided the cabinets.
Canned beans. I should probably grab as much food as I can. The question is, how far am I willing to go? I'm peckish again? Damn, this guy. Ooh, cooking and fishing volume 1.
I assumed I would have to read those to learn each skill.
Oh, gun case. No way. How do I open it? Is this the gun case? It's empty. Worthless. No, it wasn't. I saw something. Gun case. Well, pick it up. Pick up the... No, that's the floor.
You'll have to forgive me, but the UI and actions of this game is not the most intuitive. And remember what I said about being dropped as a baby? I'm sure I mentioned it. Oh yes, definitely. Equipping it revealed its contents.
Ah, there we go.
I grabbed the gun, magazine and bullets, put it all together and fired away. As you can probably tell, the magazine was empty, but I managed to rectify that by reloading the gun. Though it was probably for the best, because firing off a gun would surely alert the hungry brain eaters. So instead I opened the map and checked off one of my neighbor's house.
I've been there.
And headed back to base of operations, learning I could run as I crouched. I threw the canned food in the fridge, which was entirely unnecessary as it's deemed as non-perishable food, then offloaded today's spoils on the floor, leaving room for another heist.
A bit peckish. Might eat an apple. Right? Yeah, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad.
Big plays going on at the minute.
Where should I go? I'll just go through house to house here. And I'm gonna sneak.
I snuck over the fence where I instantly caught this fair lady's attention.
Why are all the zombies old ladies?
Kind of self-explanatory now that I think of it. Old ladies are weak, brittle, and easy fodder for the undead. The fragile lady had a classic wristwatch, and placed around my wrist I could now tell the time.
Ah, I got the time. 1800 hours, okay.
Again let down by my burgling skills, I had to resort to the old tried and true method of heavy object meeting glass.
Climb through. Remove broken glass. Oh, did I get hurt before?
Turns out I was extremely lucky not to cut myself and then bleed out on the floor during my previous burglary.
How do I... Bonk? Bob, what are you doing? I just want to jump through without actually having to press climb through. How do I do that?
The survival guide would have an answer, and to questions I didn't even ask.
Health. Click the heart icon. Oh yeah, forgot about that. And hold E to climb through.
So with the magic of clicking E, I climbed on through with minimal mouse clicking.
There we go.
I found an empty toolbox, a box of nails, safety goggles, but most notable, an axe. With a direct comparison to my metal bar, the axe was in a different league damage-wise. I sank deeper into the criminal underground, breaking into yet another neighbor's house. Raided their fridge for fresh cabbage, stole their precious peanut butter, and found a closet stocked with tools. On the second floor, I grabbed disinfectant and a revolver from the bedside table. The most safe place to store a gun, obviously. That marked another house explored, and as it was getting late, I clumsily headed back to base.
No way! Minor bleeding. Why? Why am I bleeding?
My hoarding ways saw me over encumbered, and when you carry the weight of a house on your shoulders, you can easily slip and scrape your knee, which I just demonstrated. I was also heavily exerted. All in all, it caused poor old Bob some discomfort. To keep myself organized, I moved all tools into the toolbox, placed my new kitchen utensils in the cabinets, and all organic food in the fridge.
What is this? I'm tired. Should lie down. I'm peckish. I'm bleeding. I'm thirsty. Discomfort. Minor pain, heavy load. I've got it all. Oh, I'm losing health. Bandage required.
My right thigh was hemorrhaging bad from that fence misadventure. Luckily, I could rip up clothing from the zombie so kindly gracing my floors, and with some first aid magic...
No more bleeding.
As the wee hours snuck closer, I thought I might prepare myself for bed with a nice hot meal in my belly. So I opened a can of chili.
Do I microwave the chili?
This is where you violently yell at the screen not to place metal in the microwave. But I went ahead with the madness, and with warm calories in mind, everything sounded normal to me. No need for concern. After the munchings, I discarded the can on the floor and went to bed. The zombie apocalypse reminds me a lot of living alone for the first time.
Sleep. Are you sure you want to sleep? Yeah. Let's sleep.
7 hours later, I woke up a new man and discarded the now dirty bandage.
Overall body status? Okay, it's healed. Overnight, it's healed.
That morning, I was speed reading through my comics.
Ah! Okay, you wanna go?
He did indeed want to go.
Oh, there's more people coming. Zombies, you're not people.
The axe turned out to be a good choice.
You dead? Holster, you're police? Can't trust anybody. 2 more. Wow! Wah!
There were a lot of ahs at this time.
Ah! Pusher, J Killer! Oh, right in the coochie! That would kill anyone.
Yes, the coochie is famously known as the Achilles heel of zombies. And men. With the holster equipped, I had easy access to my pistol through a simple key binding and figured it was time to get moving.
I mean, I can't stay here. It's just residential areas. Let's go... Let's follow the road. Let's go to the community services, which I have no idea what that is. Maybe this isn't the best idea to go out when it's foggy. Maybe I should stay in today. I think I should stay in today. I could read a book or something.
I found another rear Achilles heel and swapped my classic wristwatch for a digital one, giving me access to the current date and a thermometer. I then curled up next to the couch with a great non-fictional book, Cooking Volume 1. Being a slow reader, it took an astonishing amount of time, so I sped things up. After a snack break, I finally realized that canned goods is obviously non-perishable, so I moved the brunt into the cupboard.
Create sandwich from peanut butter. Peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah, bread and peanut butter makes a peanut butter sandwich.
I could go with a peanut butter sandwich.
It satiated my gluttony for horse meat, so it was a pretty good sandwich. I finished the book, lumberjacked this peeping Tom, and microwaved another can of beans.
It's metal, though. Should I really be microwaving metal? I don't think I should, but hey.
It had previously worked without a hitch, so why change what isn't broken? I made it an early evening, but my sleep was disturbed.
Oh, what was that? Did I hear a rifle? Can I stop sleeping? No, you cannot. 5:30, 5:40.
Much too early and much too dark to venture outside, at least according to myself. I continued my education by the sink, reading about fishing.
Okay, 8 o'clock. That's good. Let's drink some. Let's grab a snack. Actually, let's actually grab, like, canned potatoes. Let's put it in the microwave.
It's worked before. Is there any reason why it wouldn't work again?
Oh, what the f... No. What happened? Microwave. Turn off. What's happening? Jesus, I'm burning down my house.
In my calm state, I started to look for something with to douse the fire.
Hot sauce. I don't have any water. I don't have a bottle or something. Do I need a bottle? Fuck you, I'm burning down my house. I'm burning down my house. How did that happen? Because metal in the microwave. That's why. Grab the food. Just grab the food.
I also grabbed the ball peen hammer and vitamins.
The lawn is on fire. My precious lawn. It's on fire. Jesus, let's leave.
The great thing about the apocalypse is the housing market. It's inflated with cheap options.
I'll grab a new house. I don't need this house. I never wanted that house. It was a crappy house anyway.
My new house came with its own garage and tools readily available.
Worst burglar in the history of... Jesus! Cheese it! How do I run?
I walked in a rush, avoiding any glancing cowboys. And fortune smiled with an unlocked door. But for some reason, the alarm drew the zombies my way. I didn't want them to attract others, so I opened the window with the intent of murdering one at a time.
What are you doing? God, I'm so slow because I'm over-encumbered.
My sluggish arms intensified my panic.
I need to leave. Whoa! Oh, the neighborhood's on fire. Do I throw something? I can't throw food. I can't throw away food. Ah! Help me, gnome. Help me.
It was of no help.
Just vault over. Now I'm bleeding. Is this how you play this game?
Questionable.
Come on. Yes. Enter. Enter the window. Now enter the window. Climb through.
Finally through, I made my way upstairs for an elaborate plan of escape.
Can I make rope? Can I escape? Didn't I have a lot of rags?
I opened up the craft helper and searched for the only thing that came to mind when you want to throw yourself from a window.
Rope.
But these menus, man, seriously.
They're inside. Oh, make 4 log stacks? What the f*** is this?
I'd have to make my escape without the rope, so I figured I'd ease the fall by slimming down my backpack. Obviously, by Newton's laws, this is ridiculous, but I didn't want the backpack snapping into the back of my neck.
I'm ready. Let me at him. Here's one zombie survive. The house is on fire.
The zombie's on fire.
The house is on fire. Oh! No! Ah, scratched, bleeding.
After another crotch botch, there was only one way out.
Okay, I need to... Let's do this. Climb through. Ah! Jesus! No! Ah! You're burning and you've got a screwdriver in your back. How are you still alive? And I'm going. If I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me. You survived for 2 days and 2 hours. You killed 69 zombies? Did I burn 69 zombies? Zombified. Sudden desire to eat people. All right, the record for now is 2 days and 2 hours. I don't think I'm gonna beat 69 zombies though. That was crazy. This is Bob Tinkletower Jr. Where have I ended up now? Also, I have the old map.
That was good news. Unless you start an entirely new map, you enter the exact same world, with the very real possibility of running into your old zombie self. That means there are now multiple Bob Tinkletowers in town. Fantastic. I only grabbed a single can of pineapple this time, figuring I wouldn't need to cook pineapple. For the record, you don't need to cook any of the canned food.
Rolling pin, I guess that's my weapon.
There was already someone encroaching my fortress of solitude.
Hey! Oh yeah, don't forget to press control. I just broke the window. God damn it.
Better safe than sorry, I removed the shards of glass if I'd ever be in a hurry, and was then off into the wilderness. Up a lonesome road, I took a right and saw an interesting sign off in the distance. Intrigued by the promise of salvation, I ran into a couple of customer service representatives with a biting sales pitch. And whiffing my first swing, I was almost done for.
Get baked.
They had a whole team trying to close the deal and more joined the call.
How many are you? No, no, bitten, bleeding, laceration, no, they're getting me. It's merely a flesh wound. I'm dead. You survived for 1 hour. You killed 1 zombie. Game mode survivor. New character.
Burgling was clearly not my style, so I tried my luck as a fire officer. No negative traits needed, and I would unleash upon the world the third Tinkletower. Returning to the scene of the crime, I spawned into my first house, just a little too late. But I could grab a few things already acquired by my great-grandfather, like this crowbar, the pistol, and the watch.
Somebody must have put metal in the microwave.
Yes, what an idiot that must have been.
It's been a massacre here.
An accident. There's been an accident.
I think somebody heard me. Yeah. Next door neighbor, Josh. F you, Josh. When am I gonna get my lawnmower back?
As compensation for the delay, I ripped Josh's t-shirt for a band-aid.
Oh, Jesus. You're a burglar.
Or a raccoon zombie hybrid of some kind.
This crowbar is awesome. I feel invincible. It's still burning.
I barely made it across the street before burning zombies came charging at me, so I vaulted over the fence for a more strategic position.
That's right. That's right. I don't burn. I'm burning! I'm burning! Jesus Christ, I'm burning! Tuck and roll! How do... Tuck and roll! God damn it! How do I roll? Sit on ground! Sit on ground! Roll around! Oh, that actually worked. Whoop!
My groin had taken a beating, so I patched that up with a ripped sheet before limping toward cover.
This might be the end of Bob Tinkletower Jr.
Before the end, I smashed a vegetable salad and loaded up the gun, figuring I might as well go out with a bang.
Shoot the gun. How did I miss?
Turns out Bob is not a very good shot and perhaps extremely cross-eyed.
That was it. That was it. It's time for the crowbar.
Who else would show up but the original Bob, sneaking up unnoticed?
Wow! There's just a few. There's just a few. I am speed. I'm nimble. I'm quick. I am bitten. I'm bleeding. I'm scratched. You'll never get me alive. Which is why you killed me.
Bob Tinkletower 1, Bob Tinkletower Jr. 0.
I killed 54 zombies? How am I killing that many zombies? Am I burning everybody?
It seems fires carries over to next of kin. I'm doing my fair share of cleaning up this apocalypse though.
Let's go bald. Hell yeah.
At least the dead meat bags can't pull my hair.
Baseball cap, rain boots. Bite defense. Bite defense? Where?
Clothing with bite and scratch defense can significantly reduce infection risk, and I found my feet to be especially vulnerable, so this was great. I scoured the house for my essentials before heading out the front door to a lawn decorated with flamingos, and you know what that means.
Oh yeah, I guess that's to be expected. So how did I miss? Bleeding laceration, oh my god. Junior is already dead. No way. I'm just gonna run away. Just gonna run away. I'm free! I'm off the grid! I don't have a social security number for Bob Tinkletower!
The pyromaniac's fire had now spread quite far, and by jumping this fence I could breathe for a moment of respite as it was too high for the zombies to climb.
Ah.
So I patched up my wounds.
Question is, did I get... It doesn't say bit.
That's true, but even scratches and lacerations have a small chance of zombifying you.
Maybe it has to say, like, infected as well? So maybe I'm fine, actually.
Ignorance is bliss. I headed toward the closest building, which happened to be a community service building, and a school at that, judging by this backpack I found in one of the lockers. There was also a lunch bag packing a tasty muffin and a cracker.
Whoa, shit! Don't interrupt my snackage.
Snackage interrupted, I ran down the hallway, hiding in a nurse's office.
Oh man, how do you even know I'm here?
I don't know, but these zombies sure have 20/20 vision and perfect hearing.
Why do you have sleeping tablets in a freaking school?
Sometimes the kids just won't shut up. Wrapped in clean bandages, I couldn't stay here.
Okay, it's just 2. Let's see if we can get him. Oh, no, bitten! This is so hard! Oh! Senior. We go again.
I decided to continue the mayhem through Rosewood with a questionable mental state.
I'm gonna wear your briefs. That's disgusting. Unequip the briefs. Ugh.
With my own underwear back on, thank God, I jumped over to the adjacent plot and broke in, grabbing a frying pan and scanning for literature.
Electrician. How to use generators. That might be nice. Literature. Recipe. A recipe for disaster! Acoustic guitar, flute, saxophone, weapon.
A weapon for both seduction and mutilation, in the right hands.
Got myself a guitar. I'm a proficient musician. You wanna go? Let me play you a tune. Oh! God damn it. How does that Gibson taste? Piece of shit.
It's got a distinct aftertaste of earthy materials. Anyway, notice how boredom is reduced bashing in zombie foreheads. Bob is secretly enjoying this bludgeoning solitude. The TV was still working, so I turned into some bovine goodness.
I am a cow. I'm here to tell you something beautiful.
That was a cheap laugh. I just didn't expect the beautiful.
Okay, turn off. This is just brain rot. Slight panic? How did that miss? Combat in this game is just... it's on another level.
It takes some getting used to, and cursor placement is key. But there's also a special trick that will assist us later. Antibiotics was a great find. I began a regimen right away and moved on upstairs.
Oh, jump!
You can't fault me for that one. It was quiet as a mouse. I'm rather impressed by the durability of this guitar, by the way. That is some fine rosewood craftsmanship right there. There was also this gun case I snatched.
Oh, jump! Get the guitar! Get the guitar! I'm bitten again! Jesus, and the guitar broke. Oh, you're gonna get it now.
That ain't rosewood. Cheap knockoff.
Can I push him in? I close the door.
My moodles was through the roof, but I was able to mitigate some of that pain with painkillers I found in the bathroom and then arm myself for a shootout.
Box. Open box. Oh, shit, where did you go? There we go. Sweet and effective.
But I wasn't allowed a moment of peace.
Ah! Oh, so if I come running at them, they're gonna fall down a lot easier.
At last, my finicky fingers got a few bullets in the chamber and my aim was put to the test.
Are you serious right now?
Bob tried to incorporate a gunslinging 360 into the mix, but it sadly disoriented myself more than the actual zombie.
I mean, this is just that. This is not a. This. No, the weapons are crap. The weapons are crap, and I'm bleeding, and I'm scratched.
I'm crap, and the crap piles on, exponentially.
How am I missing? He's even. They're marked, aren't they?
So there's 3 different indicators when wielding a gun, all representing your chance to hit a zombie. From red, your aim is poor, to hits are very likely green. But wielding guns in general is not the way to go about in this world. I wish I could say Bob Sr., and Robert Tinkletower performed better, but unfortunately, Sr. ran into trouble with his electric guitar almost immediately.
Oh, 4 zombies! Oh!
Then spontaneously erupting into a zombie. And Robert, although dressed for a more casual apocalypse, made a couple of rash decisions that landed him on the 2nd floor with a bald spot and a gun, neither of which helped him delay the inevitable.
I'm going down again! Robert Tinkletower, you were the chosen one! You were gonna bring balance to the Zomboid apocalypse! Ah! I have the high ground! Climb through the window! Why does this take time? And I'm dead.
But their sacrifice paved the way for
Roberto. Tinkle Tower.
the Tinkle Tower family has grown rather large, and they're all male. How does that work? Roberto's choice of location? The small town of Muldraugh.
Yeah, sure. I mean, why wouldn't I bring it?
I believe I've answered that question already on multiple occasions, but fair enough. I found my standard weapon of choice, a pan of some variety, and a bit of non-perishable food.
Okay. Be stealth itself. Cas. I need 50 cas and I have no cas.
I realized I'd been too reckless during my previous attempts, so the plan was to dial it down a notch. But that didn't stop Super Zombie here from spotting me through 2 bloody windows, alerting his best walker friend.
I won't have it. You hear me? I won't. No!
By the way of a smooth criminal, one crime led to another. And I'm not saying that zombies are governed by the same laws as men, but you get my drift. Murder's great. Moving toward the next mansion, I whacked 2 zombies in the face with a plunger from the previous house. And being made of rubber, it wasn't a very sturdy weapon. It was the old boot that saved me in the end. I went inside for a drink and washed off the excess blood that spattered in my face. Unbeknownst to me, hygiene is of vital importance. Zombie blood on your face and clothes increase risk of infection. I decided to spend the evening reading about carpentry and, with a full belly, slept in this questionable bed with absolutely no contingency plan whatsoever. Surprised, I woke up with minimal bite marks and could finish off my book.
Let's make a bowl of beans.
I was now very intentional with what I put in the microwave.
Right, eat. It still says uncooked though.
I microwaved it a second time on high heat for 3 minutes, but it would remain uncooked. I can only assume this to be an American quality appliance.
Okay. Carpentry, Volume 2. Skill level too low to read. How does that work? Skills. Do I need to read carpentry again? What do you mean?
Confused, I left my education for another day, something I did for the entirety of my adolescent teenage years, but I was still baffled by my lack of carpentry skills. I searched for answers at Wade's Motel, where the front desk was locked down tight, but the guest rooms had clearly been spared the same attention. I wasn't really hungry, but encumbrance weighed me down, so I feasted on a dried split peas dish. It had a severe effect on my happiness, as peas often do.
Getting a tad weepy. Seek some excitement or human contact.
There hadn't been a single sign of another human organism, so I guess excitement?
Entertainment? Read? Is this exciting? No, not at all.
To be fair, reading a magazine is something you do while waiting at the dentist's office. Not a very thrilling ordeal.
I mean, wasn't that exciting enough to kill a zombie?
Evidently not. I've been desensitized by the apocalypse. I found a storage unit housing a box of nails and a glorious empty gas can. And with my plunger at the ready, I scavenged through the bottom units before bonking the noggin of this previously fine guest. The rest of the units on the balcony was either empty, locked, or harboring a zombie.
Skill level too low to read. Okay, maybe I actually now then need like a hammer to disassemble some equipment to increase my skill level before I can go into carpentry level 2.
Still, that was just a theory though. But that was another building ransacked, so I looked toward my next target, a retail and commercial facility.
Oh, Jesus! She alive? Oh, I was looking at the clock and the weepy thing.
Silently stomping this zombie, my sneaking skill increased.
Sneaking actually went up. Why though? Because I sneaked. Snuck. I've been sneakage.
Powering through a couple of zombies and a thicket of trees, I tried to open this van without success. And before mindlessly smashing this window, I stayed my hand to assess the immediate area.
There's too many. There's too many.
Their great numbers scared me into light-footedness +1. I tried opening the trunk of this car, but it was also locked, unfortunately. Time was ticking by fast, at least relatively speaking, as 24 hours in this game is a whole hour in real life. Anyway, it was late, and this house looked to be a suitable hotel for the night. I grabbed a hammer from the appurtenant shack and replaced the plunger with something more metally. It did well to cave in the head of this uninvited window lurker. I stomped a little more and found a possible solution for my weepiness.
Hotties. Maybe that's the entertainment that I seek. I'm a tad weepy. I'm gonna check him out.
That's for later. I grabbed a leather jacket with bite and scratch defense, furthering the burglar look, and as I made it inside, I shut the curtains in the living room and the kitchen area for any nosy and decomposing intruders. I debated whether to make this a safe house and came to the conclusion, yes. So I floated some gear, lowering my encumbrance as it caused great discomfort. Discomfort lowers happiness over time, and it can also slow down your actions, making it harder to survive. I woke up to a rainy day and was as weepy as ever, thinking some existence-escaping television might help.
How do I, am I watching this? I have no idea if I'm actually watching this.
TV watching was apparently too advanced for me to figure out, so I grabbed the next best thing, the Hotties magazine. Shortly after finishing this astonishing piece of literature, my boredom was reduced ×2, so I'm sure I kept a watchful eye on that television as well. The urge to touch grass saw me out in the rain. It was a wet affair, but rain can be your ally. It muffles the sounds you make, making it harder for the zombies to detect you. No luck on the passenger side. I turned to move on and nearly collided with a frothing zombie. Bashed it down, then peeked around the corner. The zombies look to be as hungry for some good produce as myself, but when a meat bag comes walking, can you really blame the shift in priority?
Oh, we can do this. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing great. What's this? Unpleasantly hot.
And that is in no way a description of my appearance. A key to my newfound success was to simultaneously back up as I swung my metal pipe. Somewhere along the way, I'll forget about this totally awesome art form of war and go back to total noobage. I patched up what I hoped to be a non-fatal scratch, bonked this noggin, and jumped on through the window.
I'm a bit thirsty, so I'm gonna grab myself a juice box.
Along a comfy hoodie, I found a set of vegetables, but that was about it for the necessities.
This was a bit of a disappointment.
Blocked by the counter, I remembered my hammer, so I went back to get it.
I have the hammer. What are you doing? I have the hammer.
The hammer would remain useless without a saw to go with it, and swinging it erratically remained ineffective. I dropped off a bunch of things as my new base of operations was so close and took care of my basic needs before heading out again.
What? Where did you come from? You sneaky bugger.
These zombies have surely maxed out sneakiness. Slowly overrun, I might have panicked a bit and headed for the closest shelter. Panic quickly subsides when you see such available non-perishables though. I'm a greedy loot goblin. The broken window would funnel them in smaller groups. That was great news, but I had to fight at two fronts when the other window finally gave way. Thank God for the leather jacket though. It looked to have saved me from another fatal bite.
Oh, Jesus.
I ran.
Extreme panic. Yeah, I can relate.
Line of sight eventually broke ducking behind this fence, and I concluded that my evasive maneuver was a complete success. I did a 360 no-scope to confirm. Quality assessment. That encounter had me turn back. Oh, afraid I'd draw them into my safe house, I went past base to another house, inviting myself in through this window. Its resident was in my way, so I bonked her on the head an ample amount of times and then scooped up a mountain of goodies. Among them food, and on the shelf, a collection of skillful books.
Garden saw. Nice. One axe.
After such great finds, I rushed home, imagining I could slip past the counter in the morning with my new tools in hand.
What? No! Not while I'm sleeping! Not like this! Not like this! Why did you... There's no excuse for that kind of behavior, zombie people. I didn't make any sounds, did I? The curtains closed?
Perhaps my gaping snores were too loud, but they kind of broke in just as I shut my eyes. Yes, very untimely.
That's why you need carpentry. You need to barricade the windows and stuff. God damn it. I'm not happy. I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy. We might as well do this. Go as a fire officer and get all the negatives for one. Just one. Just once. See what happens. Yeah, Lily Barbosa. Now this makes sense during this run. There was no hope for survival. This makes sense.
To be fair, it's made a lot of sense during all of my attempts so far. Barbosa was skittish and agoraphobic. Peeking outside alone induced a full-blown panic attack. But we couldn't stay inside on a beautiful day like this, because Barbosa was also claustrophobic, a truly devilish combination.
Panic, strong panic. Is that a helicopter in the background?
Most likely a potential rescue party, so I stuck around, looking for provisions.
Why is the sound muffled?
The first objective is always to locate a can opener, canned food, and a griddle pan. I can't go anywhere without that griddle pan.
Oh, I've got like really crappy hearing, that's why everything is muffled.
The zombies set about in the direction of the helicopter, which so happened to sing around, flying straight overhead.
What's happening? I thought they were going towards the helicopter. Ah! Oh, well, I'm boned.
In other words, nothing out of the ordinary. I managed to run for a bit, but barely had the strength to knock over a single meat bag. Depth perception was also a weak point. I lurched toward the chopper, but pinpointing its exact location was a bit of a challenge, seeing as it most likely circulated the area. Panicked, weak, and thirsty, I sought a respite and a glass of water inside this house.
Whoop!
Look at these feeble arms.
Come on, fall down already.
I had an easier time with the old man's delicate center of gravity, though my next move should have been a well-placed bonk on Miss Red's noggin, not maiming the old man's manhood.
No, laceration, bleeding. Am I infected? Scratch, bleeding. More are coming. It's a police officer! Stop in the name of the law!
And I had left my ankles vulnerable for a play.
Barbosa! Parlay! Parlay!
Unfortunately, they did not abide to the Codex of Pirates. Foul beasts.
Okay, we're back as Roberto. Tinkle Tower.
To step into familiar shoes felt right.
Okay, no, let's go up right away.
Muldraugh was still my preferred location for the time being, but it was a brand new neighborhood. I made about the streets until spying a seemingly open food market.
Fancy that. It's still open during the zombie apocalypse. The owners are quite dedicated.
It was all false advertisement. You might also have noticed a sudden change of clothes and a rad set of spectacles. That's because the grey and bloody jacket had a bit of bite defense. Very literal. I also accessorized with a watch and ripped the dress off this lady. All in the name of survival, I might add.
Deep wound, bleed. Damn.
Hemorrhaging bad decisions, I jumped through broken glass. But to the idiot goes the spoils and I nabbed myself a bucket of ice cream to enjoy, numbing my last 2 working brain cells. A bunch of non-perishables found their way into my inventory and a quenching water bottle. And after taking care of business behind this garbage can, a bright pink shone on the map. This meant medical supplies for my deep cut, according to the map at least. This had me sprinting with joy, which is a terrible idea. I mean, my brain might as well have been turned off at this point.
Oh, oh, hello. Whee! You'll never catch me. You dead meat bags?
This meant a rain check on the medical supplies and a swift getaway. Inconceivably enough, the rotten walking corpses disappeared behind me. This gave me time to enjoy a fresh radish, grab a drink, as well as wash myself and my clothes. I slapped on a couple of fresh bandages too, as the old ones were dirty and soaked in blood. But what a waste of time that was, because 5 minutes later, they were as dirty as ever. So I grabbed a guitar and tried to get some shut-eye.
Experienced too much pain to sleep. Oh, that's just great. There might be painkillers in here.
No, but a real bandage and a sewing kit. I figured I'd fall asleep eventually if I just get tired enough, so I opened a book and read till after midnight, still experiencing too much pain for a good snooze.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not sure if darkness was our ally or not. I definitely do not trust it not to betray us. I gave up on sleep and sat on the floor for a good while and headed out first thing in the morning, walking down main road into country territory. I checked the boot of another banged up car. It looked to be empty like the others, but I got my suspicions I was doing something wrong.
I'm so tired. I'm lethargic and slow.
Yes, my 4 moodles of drowsiness, discomfort, pain, and heavy bleeding aren't exactly helping with my energy levels.
You're not dead.
99 plus resistance in guitar, that's how. Unsure of what to do or where to go, I put the next foot in front of the other.
See if we can cross the river.
That was no river, but I crossed the tracks into the never-ending woods nonetheless.
I mean, I'll reach civilization at some point.
That was the keyword here. At some point.
So desperately, inhumanly tired. I can't sleep inside the forest, though. I'll get sick. Oh, a road. I'll take it. That's a victory right there. Oh, sweet, sweet tarmac.
I came to a crossroads with no sign, so I took a right not to end up where I started.
Deep wound, infected, bleeding, lodged glass shards.
Yeah, my prospects did not look great.
Nope.
One of these days, I'll get to look inside one of those bad boys.
A gate. A fence. Civilization.
A stretch, seeing it was mostly inhabited by the dead, but I wanted to see what was on the other side. South was an option, though a bad one, and I don't like north particularly either. To be honest, all roads lead to hell in this game. Following along the fence, my movement slowly decayed into a deprecated walk. A short 9-hour respite did little to nothing to improve my well-being, so I lay my fears of frostbite and mutilation aside and put my weary head on a pillow of root. The dreaded queasy moodle showed up, along with hunger and a ripping chill. It was only 10 degrees outside after all. And those are real degrees, by the way, glorious Celsius.
Feels a bit nippy. Yep. My health did restore a bit. Sleeping.
Sleeping doesn't directly restore health, but it greatly improves healing rate. By being well rested, the game applies a normal healing rate and you recover much faster. Famished, my way forward was toward the industrial building, thinking it might at least have a cantina.
Now I'm scratched. Ugh, God damn it. I should have pulled through my... smash with my guitar. I thought you were smart enough to do that, but guess I'm gonna have to do everything.
This game doesn't hold your hand in the slightest and will expose your below average IQ.
It's the worst industry building I've ever seen.
Who builds office spaces in the middle of nowhere with no production line? And no cantina for that matter.
Fill empty bottle?
You might have noticed that my thirst has been quenched lately. That's because your character automatically stays hydrated if you keep a water bottle in your inventory. So I guess the game helps those who help themselves.
Let's follow the train track. It's not like there's a train coming.
The industrial enclosure was a letdown, and if you haven't noticed it yet, my character wasn't exactly at the top of his game. So I rested, not because it helped, but because there was nothing else left to do.
I'm roaming around like a lunatic in a forest with just a guitar. My transition into a musician is complete.
I ran a whole lot.
Oh, Jesus, I've traveled far and wide. Intersection. It's a road. It's a road. All right. Big decisions. Left. 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 All right. All right. Left. All right. Left. 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 Yes. Yeah. All right. We could go left. Let's go left. No. We'll go right. Because right is always right. 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 Ah, damn it. I should have gone left. We're going left. We're going left. Oh, I can't jog anymore. I can barely walk. Excessive exertion. All right, fine.
Reckless sleep out in the woods scared me, and I didn't want to wake up in the middle of the night. So I again opted for sitting on the ground for an extended period of time.
You know what? I might as well sleep on the ground.
Fair enough. Queasy was now full-blown nausea as I put on a fresh set of bandages.
Remove glass. I can remove the glass with my hands? Damn it. I didn't know that. I should have done that ages ago. Pain. About sums up my experience with this game so far. Pain.
My snooze edge had accomplished the exact thing I didn't want. I was now wandering in pitch black night.
Are there zombies, like, chasing me? It almost sounds like it, but I don't know. I mean, I can't see anything.
Like moths to a flame, these streetlights pulled me in. And as I could hear zombies breathing down my neck, I tried to make it inside this restaurant.
Let's go.
I eventually walked through the front door, followed by a game of musical chairs. It was a sad game where the contestants were more interested in my tasty, throbbing neck. So I made my escape through the back door.
Ah!
The gas station would have been a good place to scavenge, but I wanted to live.
The forest always saves you. Let's go deep. Deep, 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 deep.
As you can tell, I went deep. Until I circled back to another building nearby.
It's a clothing store. But there's soda and stuff. Hell yeah.
Salvation at last. I noshed until my heart's content and must have eaten at least 3 bags of chips. Finally full, I checked the back, where there were mostly clothing, but I got to wash up and read up on some metalwork.
Sick. Strength and healing reduced. I'm sick now? Very severe damage. What? I'm dying? That's not good.
Dying is never good. It's terminal.
Terminal damage. Okay, I'm dying. Why? It's because I'm sick?
I've been hemorrhaging from an open wound for days now. It shouldn't be a surprise I'm dying from all manner of things. A fashion mogul, and probably the most durable zombie yet, drained the last hope and will of Roberto. That's about 10 extra hours of continuous survival, a new world record. We're breaking new ground here.
Let's check out Riverside. Alright, Bobby.
I made a few endearing changes to the Tinkle Tower genetic blueprint.
I basically uncovered the entire map. It's a little spot over there that I haven't uncovered. I'll get to that soon.
My new kitchen housed the usual utensils and snacks, but a pipe wrench grazed my belt instead of the usual griddle pan, and a few exciting tools in the garage made me go,
ooh. Ooh. Screwdriver, garden saw. Does that mean I can, like, disassemble a large simple table? Yes, it does. Scrapwood. Can I do anything with scrapwood?
A single frame quietly informed me that I failed to produce anything useful, so scrapwood was most likely junk. I grabbed a fanny pack and the nerd illusion was complete. I liked what this house had to offer, so I closed all the curtains, disassembled a chair for more scrapwood, and noticed I could make a spiked plank if I could just find a plank and some nails. The only downside was the massive sliding glass doors.
Oh my god, what did I do?
It was clear what I did. I compromised my only safe house.
Hey.
I gave them a juking workout, dragging them away and breaking line of sight through a nearby house. Relieved, I grabbed a room to cool off, but this is a jumpy game. I let her in, bonked her head, then calmly waited for dawn. The owners were mid-move, so rations were scarce, but the garage boxes held fishing equipment. I then disguised myself as a bush. A good bush, a great bush, possibly the only thing I've mastered so far. My redirection plan mostly failed. A pack of zombies still awaited my return. Luckily, I was in a subdivision, and an almost identical house sat just downhill. I evicted its residents.
There we go. Now we're alone, and I can have my way with you. Oh, no, ball. West Point map. This doesn't help at all. I don't know where I am.
It did help. The map was now added to my own. A rifle waited in the bedroom closet. It fit neatly on my back, with the pipe wrench still snug in my belt. Beyond this door sat 4 boxes, perfect for storing the day's haul, and the bathroom had its share of goodies. And before I forget, I'd also equipped a hand scythe too. Closing the garage door, I got another jump scare from an unemployed homeless zombie. He started banging on the door while I got scratched by this pantsless monstrosity.
What the f- Oh, man!
No bite marks meant no immediate panic, so I patched myself up, though the windows were still getting hammered.
Let me open that for you. Let me get that for you. Let me get that for you.
After the slaying, I noticed I was over-cucumbered. It didn't do much to help, but I placed the bottle opener in the fanny pack and then dealt with the last scalper.
Whoa! Popo! A holster? Shotgun? Shotgun!
Even better was the bulletproof vest. Solid protection.
Look at me. I'm the popo now.
I sorted my stash, equipped the holster, and armed myself with the M36 I found in a drawer. Grey skies and a wet pavement convinced me to skim an engineering magazine. These magazines teach specific crafting recipes, and this one unlocked the noisemaker. I then went to bed in the middle of the day.
Everybody's got their side of the bed.
That night, I marked my safe house on the map, along with the only place I knew had extra canned goods. And to avoid facing the night, I got busy dismantling the house.
Bah.
For that table and 4 chairs, I was able to extract 1 plank and some nails. Not a very successful carpentry hour. But you gain experience, and the higher your skill is, the more likely you are to produce usable material. After that, I tired myself with a few burpees.
There we go. Now I'm peckish. Tired, I'm getting bored. I need to drink. Not tired enough. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Even more ridiculous was another set of burpees before finally hitting the hay.
And let's head up to the police station.
I kind of just presumed it to be a police station due to its large size on the map. And it was blue, like Boys in Blue. That's sound logic, that is.
Just slice her open, slice her titties off. Oh yeah.
I slithered in the least conspicuous way possible in the direction of said blue building, avoiding many an enemy with a deteriorating posture until I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Weirdly enough, the fence zombies didn't bat an eye, but this racking bunch caught my scent somehow. I mean, they're all staring into the ground, there's no way they saw me.
I can take care of these. I think I can take care of these.
They came at me hard, so I swung my hand scythe. Hard, leaving a gruesome tail of blood in my wake.
The only trouble that I see with this is there might be felonies. It might not be felonies, might be felons.
Mostly there were school benches, no felons, no cops, and no protective gear, which is surprising, considering we're in the US.
America.
I grabbed a school bag from a locker, huge for encumbrance, less weight, more space, fewer penalties, loot goblin approved, and having left the door open, 2 stinkies walked in. I handled them, and then revoked any previous agreements of tenure.
Hello, teacher. I'm late for class. Here's some history for you. Ugh!
I then stumbled upon my best discovery yet. A library, packed with books. Apparently no one reads anymore, because everyone is dead.
These are a lot of books, a lot of books. Go on, read some books.
With half the library in my bag, I headed home, fully committed to homeschooling myself.
No, 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 no. I said no.
Principles matter, even with zombies.
I've got a gun. Maybe the rifle can shoot that far. Yeah, but that would be stupid.
Which is why I considered it. Sneaking past my old wake earned me light-footedness +1, reducing movement noise, followed immediately by a sneaking level, making us harder to spot. Back home, I stashed the books where they belonged, clinging to the last shred of normality. I then hydrated and began training as an electrician.
A little bit of peckish. Minor pain. Oh, I've got delayed onset muscle soreness, probably.
Yeah, those 2 sets of burpees were mean.
I don't know if that's a thing. If you're easier to detect because of the smell and such.
I was talking about bloodstains, and no, they don't attract zombies. They just tank your mood and increase infection risk if you get scratched. The zombies' honkers won't vibrate more than usual. I finished the book and went to bed. It was an early day, and by breakfast I noticed my rations were running low. I only had a can or 2 left, but I knew where to get some. Only thing was, the last time I was there, it was surrounded by the dead. But by the looks of it, they had migrated next door. Stealthily, I grabbed that which mattered most and expanded my utensils with a roasting and baking pan.
Maybe a teacup?
Salt too.
What are you doing here?
Can't expect squatters not to move in while you're away now, can you?
A shovel and stuff. I am well over encumbered right now.
And well overdue for a return home. The food situation improved. Not enough, but better. And after arranging the shelves in the garage, I started up on Metalworks Volume 1. I was obviously very tired, bored, and drowsy. But since my inhibition and discipline aren't limited by my real self, I grabbed another book. And since I'm not a heartless bastard, I put the textbook aside halfway through and dove into the magical realms of fiction, curing a bit of boredom. That is a lot of reading though, and my initial plan was to stay inside, curled up with another paperback, but seeing as we can't live on printed paper, I ventured outside. Careful to close the curtains and remain hidden from any external threat, I could hear a faint, guttural rumble.
There's gonna be a zombie here somewhere. Yeah.
My scythe fell apart, so I replaced it with a blunt hammer, and while raiding the fridge, I found happiness in a bottle. I quickly went home and dropped off my encumbrance, a gas can, a flashlight, various metalwork materials, and relieved myself of firearms for more carrying capacity. The crowbar would instead be my main weapon of choice. Expanding my horizon, I stumbled onto what looked like a flat tire situation. An otherwise irritating event, now life-threatening. Whoever owned the car had most likely been interrupted, leaving behind a jack and a replacement tire.
It's probably gonna be kinda heavy. Yeah.
Still nowhere near figuring out the subtleties of a proper car heist, or even how to navigate a trunk, I abandoned the 2-ton tire and headed for a house rich in sustenance. It was much of the same, but I managed to remove the batteries of another flashlight, so that was a refreshing victory. Entering the garage, and I could hear a kerfuffle. It didn't come from the porch, around the corner, or the patio, but I eventually figured it out.
I think I know where they are.
The encounter initiated another kerfuffle, and snagging the last of the pleasantries this house had to offer, I saw myself yet again over-encumbered. Also, look at this cool fedora hat I'm now sporting. On my way back, I cumbersomely wrestled with an old zombie gentleman, and upon my return, while alleviating myself, I could see my hoarding ways had started to pay off. The cupboards were stocked, and my boxes filled up nicely too. It was getting late, so that was it for today. I cleaned up, ate a can of fruit, read a little, and then went to bed. Day 23 had it pouring down the entire day, so take one guess on how I spent it.
Fap.
That's right, I fapped my way to an XP multiplier, and then tried to figure out this cooking thing with an empty bowl.
How do I get the food in the bowl? Make pancake. Hell yeah.
I managed to throw together a batter of pancake mix, but the actual cooking of it still had me confused.
Place item. I don't think this is how you do it.
For all intents and purposes, that is exactly how you're supposed to do it. Just apparently not in this game. I realized most of the cooking utensils were classified as junk, so I just threw the batter in the oven instead.
Who makes pancakes in a fucking oven?
Well, me apparently.
Oh, is that actually being cooked now? Hey, fresh. Eat them all.
It was a good hot meal for a change. I then fapped a bit of farming before bed, and as the raining continued, I spent another morning reading. When the sun finally did come out, I checked the map for my next heist. A zombie emerged trying to ambush me from a window, but I got more scared staring at the back of this dude.
Oof.
My first B&E attempts was a bust, so I tried a more straightforward approach.
But there's an open door. Die. 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 It's my house. I paid him bills in this house.
There was another zombie in the kitchen and someone causing a ruckus a floor up too.
I'm gonna choose door number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bob, I'm choosing door number 6. One is naked! And it's not a he, it's a she! With the worst hairdo! How dare you have such a bad haircut?
Such an atrocity can only be paid for in blood. My blood.
Fuck! No! No, 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 no! No, 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 no!
Scanning my fleshy pink body, there were fortunately no teeth marks. So I carried on like nothing had happened.
Coffee, honey, marmalade, tea bag, bread rotten, I don't think so.
But canned goods, I know so. I couldn't leave without first checking out the garage, and it did not disappoint, supplying me with a pair of boxing gloves.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Gotta offer some protection, right? And I can still swing this.
I was under the impression they'd protect my hands, but they did not offer anything except sweaty palms.
This neighborhood suits me.
Yes, indeed. The median income appeared to be a lot higher, so every house had something to offer while keeping the zombie population low, a survivor's dream. While changing my bandages, I noticed my wounds were infected. I'd yet to find any disinfectant, so that would quickly become a priority. But after a restorative snooze, all that was left was a tiny scratch on my lower torso. Still, there'd surely be more scratches in the future, so I decided to quickly scout a few houses for any rubbing alcohol. I craved the security of the fence, and there was only one biting menace in the way, so I took the risk for the potential reward of safety. A stocked kitchen was too good to pass up, and while I was there, a couple broke through the window, seemingly hungry as well. The commotion pulled in more strays. I let them be and focused on the task at hand. Except my only find was a layman's set of tools, and they were too heavy to haul for now.
Propane torch. Oh, there's a lot of good stuff here.
I made a mental note of such a find and continued to search for alcohol.
Ah, God.
Due to concerns for my own well-being, I was a bit tentative opening this window.
What is this? I can grab a corpse? Where's the corpse?
The corpse was just sitting there as miscellaneous junk with an encumbrance of 20. Fair assessment. Surely there is a good use for this bag of concrete, but I couldn't think of one. So I threw it aside and checked upstairs, nabbing both sleep tablets and painkillers. Then, without a delay, I worked my way down the street. The residents must have been big poopers, because there were more than a few bathrooms installed, and so plenty of medical cabinets.
Come on. Bottle of disinfectant. We got it. We got it. Let's remove the bandage. Huh, I'm okay. So I didn't need the bottle of disinfectant. Oh well. Now we got one.
The body sure is a marvelous piece of engineering. Apparently running from house to house, thieving and plowing through whatever zombies came in my way wasn't stimulating enough. Fake news. I'd fallen into a deep depression, so these antidepressants might come in handy. I popped the lid off right away.
Mourning and desperation. I took some pills for that. It should be fine now.
Those are the rules. Pills are fabricated happiness put in a tiny edible capsule. It's all a glorious cocktail of happiness-inducing chemicals. So why ain't it working? Anyway, I bugged out, making my way home.
How's the skills coming?
My prowess in agility was far ahead of my crafting. It made me sad. I'd poured a lot of brain power and sweat into those books. That XP multiplier will be ready when the time comes though.
Severely depressed. Find a way to forget reality. Okay, so we're gonna watch some TV then?
I went with lazy option number 2, upping the dosage, by a lot. Reading about carpentry in a depressive state wasn't a very smart move. It spiraled me into a nervous wreck.
Early morning. Nauseous. Strength and healing reduced. Why am I nauseous? Slight damage. What is it? Did I get nauseous by the antidepressants?
I have a creeping suspicion it might be something else.
Skills. Carpentry. 12.5.
There was only one way to be sure.
1625. I don't need the couches.
During the great zombie outbreak, my character had forgotten how to use furniture anyway, so what followed was the dismantlement of the entire living room, and I got a whole plank for it.
Ooh, actually got a plank.
The superfluous beds were a small step to take after the couch area.
Carpentry level 1 unlocked. Okay, that's how you do it.
It was finally confirmed. Practice makes perfect, and I do believe that helped produce 2 planks from my now non-existent wardrobe.
Canned potato. And some canned peas.
All that hammering worked up an appetite, but these peas did little to help my personal balance, which was in all sorts of whack.
Sweaty palms, gnawing fear, mom spaghetti. I need more entertainment.
That meant shoving down another set of happiness pills.
I don't need all the doors. Do I? I don't need all the doors. I don't need this table.
I do need the walls though. I rearranged for a bit, grabbing all available scrap woods and planks, putting them in this box. It filled up almost immediately, so I extended my storage space to one of the shelves in the garage, and then finally got seated in front of Stevie the TV. The broadcast was all white noise at this point, so not very entertaining at all, but the TV had a built-in VCR, and I recognized the masterpiece Lives Taken on VHS.
This is so intuitive. Drag a VHS tape there, okay. So intuitive.
I eventually sorted it out. Consider myself entertained.
Okay, let's watch TV for a couple of hours. That was the whole thing.
What a glorious tape that was. Boredom cured.
Moderate damage. I'm sick for... Is it because I got bitten and I'm infected? I might be infected.
I don't think there was an actual bite at any point, but as you know, a scratch have a small chance of turning you. Might have had the disinfectant at hand earlier. This whole mess could have been avoided. Tripping by the thought of turning zombie, I endlessly tried to apply a first aid kit to my entire person. As you can tell, it didn't really work. My only other idea of replenishment, a snoozing cocktail, blending painkillers and sleeping tablets.
Maybe that helps. To sleep through the pain, sleep through the sickness. That usually helps, doesn't it? Yes, yes.
But my interior was swiftly deteriorating.
Very severe damage.
A second go-around would surely help, so I nibbled on a few more pills and went to bed again.
Highly critical damage. Fever. Oh, hell. I'm gonna die.
It didn't look good.
Let's take some beta blockers. Beta blockers? Let's take vitamins. Let's take more vitamins, because more is always better. Take some more beta blockers.
If zombification doesn't kill me, my heart will surely give up at any minute. After cramming down a can of peas, lettuce, a lemon, and a grapefruit, I came to the realization that I'm dying. I know, it was the toughest pill to swallow. And all I could do was strip down to my birthday suit, leaving everything of value behind.
I'm probably gonna die anyway, so let's run away from here. So I can go back with my new character. This is the end of Bobby Tinkletower. Let's make a friend. Let's make a friend if we can.
Hello? Do you want to be my friend?
I'm going out with a bang. I'm gonna kill as many as I can before I die.
For the record, that's not how you make friends. Don't do this.
I'm gonna take out the lot of you. Where the man has nothing to lose, he is to be feared most. That's 3 in a very short period of time, and I'm dead. I'm one of them. You survived for 8 days and 17 hours. Das ist gut, dat is. Yeah.
I was happy with that, but also very disappointed when I realized I had to read all of the crafting books all over again for the experience multiplier.
Alright, Roberto Bobbin Tower, Tinkletown. Let's go black and never go back. I mean, I look good. I look good. Let's do that. We're not too far off. I'm not even gonna stay here. I'm just gonna go out. Our skills is wiped, right? Oh, yeah. But our house still remains. It's not even burned to the ground. It's amazing.
That was indeed amazing, considering our previous engagement of pyromania.
Just like that, I'm gonna get my stuff back.
Back in black, my deliberate sacrificial approach with Bobby had worked, but I hung up the gloves, mainly for aesthetic purposes rather than anything practical. The time was already well off into the afternoon, and as I sat down to regain my first aid multiplier, an explosion went off in the distance. That didn't bother me as much as the fact that I found it to be a lot darker in the house than previously.
Hello? Oh. Has the power gone out? Let's check the TV. It said power source nearby.
The unfortunate truth was that, yes, there was no more power. This can happen anytime between day 1 and 30, and I was well past 3 weeks in. It felt like I hadn't really utilized it properly. Fortunately, I had a working flashlight. Initially, I'd scheduled a bit of sightseeing at 8 o'clock, but as
It's raining today.
I finished reading not only carpentry but mechanics as well, then finally stepping out of the house by 6 a.m. for day 30.
Do we go down this street? I think we go down this street. You can't see me. I'm a shadow, but a speck in the dark, though it's daytime. Oh. A school of zombies. A peck of undead. How did you see me? Did you even see me? You did see me, huh? Well, I've got a black built-in crowbar. As you now understand.
More would come and seek this important piece of information. One of them had a duffel bag, sturdy military boots, a shell's bandolier, plus a shiny hunting knife. I just had to pound through heaps of dead flesh before I could take a closer look at it all.
What's the matter, Red? You scared?
Might have been newfound confidence with the crowbar. Might have been placebo recklessness. Anyway, I was willing to take on more zombies for the sake of progress. Though everyone has a number.
Oh my god, I need to leave. Cause I'm panicking. Hey, I'm on the other side of the fence. You're just gonna have to wait, aren't you?
I ducked around the school while enjoying the provided defenses. Hustling over, I made the sound decision to leave the first house due to foes suddenly quadrupling, and then enjoyed a full banquet in house number 2, and packed a lunch.
Open up! It's the police!
I circumvented a legitimate warrant by declaring the situation an emergency. I needed calcium.
Banana.
I had a severe cocoa deficiency. It did well to decrease unhappiness too.
The duffel bag was amazing. That's an amazing find. Yep.
The duffel bag felt vastly superior to the school bag. So far, it enabled me to go through quite a few houses without weight inhibiting me too badly.
What a day I'm having. What a day I'm having. Sounds like someone is in here. Fudge. No way.
Funny how it all comes crashing down right at the peak, huh?
I hope I brought the disinfectant. Didn't I bring the disinfectant? Am I stupid?
That much is clear. I aborted my outing to hurry back and bathe myself in disinfectant. This time I'd do anything in my power to mitigate the chances of zombification. Carelessness set in the closer I got to the fence perimeter.
Let's sprint. Oh, Jesus, you can trip?
And the tumble ripped my bandages right off. I doubled back with minimal resistance, disinfected both the wound in addition to the applied bandage, and then went to bed. I didn't have a clue if this would decrease the chance of zombification in any way, but I was happy I had acted fast and in accordance with my own belief. By the way, it does nothing against zombification. The fates locked in the moment they make contact. I finished up my morning exercise regimen, prepared my body in various ways, and laid out today's plan, which to be frank was just the general direction I want to move.
What is this? Oh, that's the map I uncovered.
A fair way off, so I headed up north until a roadblock of zombies appeared, which made me break off toward this church.
Let's see if Jesus can save us. Oh. Breaking into a church, though. I'm gonna go to hell.
Satan had my back and boosted my light-footedness. Clearly, he wanted me to break into that church. And it was like taking candy from a holy Jesus fetus. But I found about as much stuff as I found Jesus.
Nothing to see inside this church. This church was a bad church. That's a big no.
Angered by my non-vandalism, Satan spawned 2 of his dead lackeys. I lured them inside to muffle the sound of me bashing their heads in. But it was I who neglected the plausibility of the dangerous bush zombie. There were even 2 of them. To break line of sight, I embraced religion again at my convenience. Being a Catholic is so easy. Waiting for things to cool off, I got seated with a magazine inside the priest's own privy while munching on a granola bar. And the granola bar had me take risks, an adverse effect of a sugar rush. They recognized my beating heart in an instant, chasing me into another church-like building. Unlike the church, I found a box of screws and a tarp, thinking the tarp might work as a makeshift curtain for the huge kitchen windows back home. I don't know if this zomboid had broken through or lived here, but I craved the fresh air. As I engaged more zombies outside, I zoomed out, and felt very surrounded.
How did you see me? No way.
It is broad daylight, and they were right across the street after all. So it was back to the tenebrous hall, slowly being overrun. It proved too much for me, so it was time to make my escape, whiffing a couple of swings with the crowbar.
Damn it. Let's leave in the car. Damn it.
Directionless and noisy, I headed for the Gigamart. By a stroke of luck, someone must have forgotten to lock the back door before being eaten alive. Good for me, bad for them. Inside, an orange soda quenched my parched throat, and I found some
Canned peaches? Mojeska. What is that? I don't know, but I'm gonna eat it.
One does not simply turn down a good-looking Mojeska, whatever it might be or do to your digestive tract. The Gigamart also gave me an extinguisher, and the produce might have all been rotten at this point, but I managed to grab 2 bags of chips before another dead interruption.
Whoopsie daisy.
There must have been some really good bargains for them to be in here, because they were swarming the place.
Away with you. I'm getting reckless. Ooh. They can't go over here, can they?
Another life-saving fence.
Nice. Just like that, I'm a free man.
I marked the Gigamart with a burger as it surely had more food to offer, and I saw there to be a lot more retail stores nearby as well. But I've had enough of running for one day, and there was a convenient house staring me right in the eyeballs. It wasn't without its infestation of vermin, but it had food in the cupboards and some nice literature in the form of Foraging Volume 1, sending me off to Snoozeville. Morning of day 32 began with a wash-up and a full rehaul of my inventory, optimizing and tossing aside any of the non-essentials. Before leaving the walls that kept me safe, I left a note, a small poem to lift a fellow survivor's spirit on some cloudy day.
Roberto Bobentauer Tinkletown went to town one day, bought a little piggy. He didn't go to no market though. It was a good day. It was a good day.
A whole row of potential resident housing was to my left, but commercial buildings just beyond the fence had taken its hold on me.
Bring it on! You stupid green t-shirt wearer! Ah, you make me sick to my stomach! Get a fashion sense, you idiot.
I redact everything my former self just said. Don't take any outfit advice from me. I'm a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy. This laundromat was about as interesting as a laundromat can be, but hugging its corner revealed a parking lot full of cars and their potential owners. I figured one of these fallen fellows might have a key to one of these cars, and one of them had an axe lodged in the back of his neck. I personally wouldn't have stashed it in such an inconvenient place, but there you go. Anyways, I wanted it. A zombie working the corner interrupted my approach, instigating a brawl. It is fair to say that the combat in this game doesn't leave much margin for error.
No.
It was really satisfying swiping all 3 across the face with this crowbar though. This time I had brought the disinfectant and wrapped up my left forearm, then took charge at the Axeman. I can't believe this uppercut missed, now compromising both my grabbing limbs. Well, at least I got an axe out of it, significantly upgrading my damage output. None of these lovable characters had any car keys on them though, which meant no car.
Okay, let's see. Come on. Oh,
As you can imagine, the alarm would pull in a lot of zombies my way.
Oh, a horde of them. I'm gonna have to go through here. Whoop!
I believe this door to be the lesser of 2 evils, but in hindsight, I'm not so sure.
Oh, no. Oh! Oh, no! Oh, no! I hate this for myself. I hate this.
What followed was a bedlam of hectic and questionable choices, leading to hot pursuit of me trying to shake off my trail.
Oh!
I can avoid being seen if I wish, but to disappear entirely, that is a rare gift.
Ah! Bah!
How I managed to get away after leaving a trail of blood is to be considered a masterful display of nimbleness. I found myself in a park for little people, suiting perfectly for a mending session, and a bit of apprehension due to my many negative moodles.
No, please, no. Please, no.
In pain and discomfort, I ate my way out of over-encumbrance, an orthodox solution to a simple problem. I might have tried to open this door, but through my previous experiences, I didn't expect it to be unlocked.
Ooh.
There was no key in the ignition though.
But the trunk... Oh, you can go in and actually unlock the trunk. Okay, cool.
The dash panel had a lot of interesting indicators. This reminded me of the Zomboid survival guide, with its very own chapter on vehicles. I fast-tracked my driver's test, but more importantly found the vehicle menu, allowing me, among other things, to check out the state of this mechanical vessel.
This is actually a working car.
It wouldn't get far without a little gas in the tank though, but things lurking nearby grabbed my attention.
There's a zombie pilgrimage going on. Are you joining the fold? Just join the line? No, you don't conform with the traditional zombie behavior. You're a renegade.
Making your own rules. However, he did partake in the traditional biting ceremony. I tried to persuade him not to by planting my axe in his head several times. Turns out it was a great negotiating tactic. After, I replaced the dirty bandages for clean ones.
What? Bald fuck. What? You don't sneak up on someone right in front of them?
It's just bad manners.
What? Where are you coming from?
I was a bit confused as to the sudden increase in zombies heading my way. Except for the many instances of head severance, I had been quiet as a mouse.
What the What?
I didn't want to test my chances with a group of that size, so I ducked through this building. But zombies were rushing in from all sides, and very evidently so.
And we are off running again. Whoop.
I tried my luck with multiple doors until finally making off with enough distance to give my all to this stubbornsome window.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh! It actually worked and I canceled the animation.
Open at last, I tried to get my bearings inside this big establishment. It was either a hotel, daycare, or lounge. Might have been all three to be honest. But there were no beds, which made me wait out the darkness in one of the water closets. Dignified. A sleepless night had left me exhausted, causing me to stumble my way forward. The dead meat bags had now piled up in rather large groups, and I found myself stuck in between different parties.
My best avenue might be to go down this road.
And so I went down the road. There were, of course, daywalkers there too. I turned around up towards the lake, snuck in another light-footed upgrade, stumbled over this nogging, and then trickled down the boardwalk where I found myself back at the parking lot. Sneaking has followed light-footedness every time, and this time would be no different. Taking a spot by the shoreline, there was an option to fish. I'd left my fishing rod at home, so that would be a venture for later. I had a feeling should I continue northwest, I'd be consumed by a never-ending wilderness again. So I saw tarmac through a line of trees, where in another life 2 police officers had met up for a Dunkin' Donut. The potential loot had me salivating, but before I even had the time to think if I should risk my life for it, a select few made the decision for me.
How are you still alive? Come on. Oh, the Trend twins. Die!
Realizing I was yet too weak and uncunning for such a massive crowd, I turned south to make myself home and recuperate.
Okay. Fine.
A day and a half without sleep and I was too exhausted to run, made only worse by being over-encumbered. Unfortunately, you can't unburden yourself on the move. Everything seems to contribute in favor of the zombies.
Vault over! Ah! Do I remove the duffel bag? Ah! I'm so slow. I am so slow.
The conga train went on.
Okay.
My eyes met the gaze of a wooden fence, and a plan of salvation started to form in my head's mush bag.
Ooh, I've got a plan.
It was simple. Pull them in and then juke them by jumping over. Sadly,
What?
I was either too heavy, too tired, or a combination of the two.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It's fine. Yeah, there's enough for everyone. Oh, God. 5 days. I was heading for such a record. And now I'm walking away with all my stuff.
That was enough zombie shenanigans for today. I wish I could say we kept our upwards trajectory, but as with most things in life, there are mountaintops and there are valleys. But there were some interesting developments worth telling along the way.
I want to be an Axeman.
The spawn of West Point, Kentucky was for Mr. Bobby Axenhauer ludicrously overpopulated compared to previous runs. And what could an Axeman do without his signature axe?
Well, I've got these 2 hands, and they're registered as lethal weapons. Wah! You know what? Just end it. Just end. I like the nonchalant. Hey, stop that! Get away! Don't do that! Well, you got me.
Back as Axeman II to Axe Tinkle Tower, I found myself with a rifle again. And in my experience, that's usually a death sentence for the owner. I knew this would lead to my bitter end, so I wanted to learn how to shoot, thinking holding my aim longer would somehow fix everything. Which is correct, but probably massively diminished by my panic and frantic movement.
The adrenaline must be shooting through my body and I'm already tired. It doesn't make sense.
I then missed point blank, and the damned indicator was green. It was green, that's green, can't be any other color than green.
Weapons in this game is not... They're not viable. Weapons in this game is not viable. Jump out the window. Come on. Clunky ass controls.
Leading to one of the most gruesome endings of a Tinkle Tower yet.
And that's the end of Axe Tinkle Tower. A man's man. A man's man. Okay, West Point is off limits. Let's go back to Muldraugh. Muldraugh.
Say hello to Taylor Sprinkle Tower, my 3rd Axeman. The generously large house had a relatively small amount of goodies available.
But I see a car in mint condition.
Its fine condition confirmed by popping the hood.
Oh. 330 horsepower.
That is the sound of a very powerful car. Without a key to fire up this bad boy, I set off trying to find it. It was neither in the house nor on this decomposing lady. This keyless path led me to some new knowledge though, like the brittle nature of my elbow cracking a car window.
Whatever.
You don't usually find the key inside a locked car though, so it was an unnecessary price for my elbow to pay. After bonking a couple of keyless monsters with a saucepan, I later discovered it also works as a water bottle. But I already had a water bottle, so. To tie the sack together for Taylor, I triggered an alarm and in a state of panic ran upstairs, jumped out in a not so spectacular fashion from the second floor window, only to get eaten on the other side of this fence.
Okay, just, yeah, have your way with me.
Nothing like the cold embrace of death.
So I just checked. Burglars can actually hotwire a vehicle.
With a dash of finessing a lock without breaking it, which should make it less likely to trigger alarms.
So I'm gonna go for a burglar and try and get a vehicle.
So far I'd kept my index finger from adding any more traits than absolutely necessary, thinking it's a way to keep the game loop fresh for the Project Zomboid veterans out there. But the general consensus of the internet seems to be go for it, in which a recommendation were slow reader, underweight sleepyhead, smoker, weak stomach, and high thirst. All easily mitigated by simply avoiding rotten food and lighting one up. Now to the positive traits, where I alone incorporated everything I felt I needed a little extra help with, like being less likely to be spotted, to move gracefully, making less noise, disease immunity through resilience, broad and stout shoulders for increased carrying weight, and speed demon. Not sure why I picked this one. I've yet to find myself behind the wheel, but I like speed.
Yes, this is it. This is Robert Tinkletower with his brown Hawaiian shirt, with his brown slim fit pants.
Might as well have been glued on, stuck to me like bearskin on leather seats. Also, aim outlines on everything helped immensely.
And all of a sudden he became a police officer.
My still dormant addiction to nicotine subconsciously meandered me down toward a gas station, where I found everything I needed to enable this new vice.
Smoke, baby.
My lungs welcomed a future full of cancer and emphysema, because obviously smoking is cool. And I don't know if it was the smoking, the aim outline, or the sudden increase in muscle mass, but for some reason I had an easier time manhandling zombies. Might have been the meat cleaver. Anyway, it being a petrol station, I tried to administer a little bit of gas to this opportunistically placed vehicle. It didn't pan out the way I'd hoped, but thanks to my underground education, the vehicle would soon be ready for takeoff.
It's hot-wired. Now I just need gas.
But I didn't need this emergency dental appointment.
No. Come on.
They immediately tore off my police jacket. Wildly unprofessional dentist behavior.
I can't walk. Why can't I walk? Why can't I walk forward? I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk forward.
Must have been the slim fit pants. I was back as Robert Jr. and a regular fit. Strangely enough, I was immediately ridiculed by someone wearing pedal pushers, and the gym bro took his side. What an insult. Outnumbered by the fashion elite, I abandoned my resistance to the Vogue spread, ducked into a car workshop, grabbed a pair of coveralls, and an empty gun canister. Thereafter, I checked every vehicle for gas, with an entourage of zombies at my trail.
Oh no, I'm over encumbered. What? Oh!
Discarding and, again, eating my way out of cumbersome weight, I was able to shake them off over the fence.
You better run, you chicken.
I was greatly amused when he landed face first for my shoving efforts.
That was awesome.
I spent the night reading in one of the storage units before nonchalantly pushing my way out again.
Oi!
Being the sole survivor of an apocalypse has its benefits, like not having to outbid other entrepreneurs for units already stocked like this. Adamant to find a working vehicle, I was left speechless by the lack of gas in stationary cars. What's the lore here? Some other survivor has already been here and gooped up all that fine combustible liquid? Have they no shame? There are other survivors out here, you know. A bathroom break saw a surprise visit. I stomped her face right through the toilet. That is one large number 2. And then left the storage facility hiking through soothing forests and meadows before finally running into the remnants of civilization again. An ambulance driver and his hitchhiker patient. He had a key.
Ambulance key?
The key fit snugly in the ambulance ignition. There was just one problem. I was missing gas like all the others.
Gas tank, 5% remaining, okay. Maybe siphon gasoline. Yeah. There we go. Siphoned. Add gasoline. Ooh. Whoa. Hey! Hell yeah!
What a glorious and fleeting feeling this was.
Wow! Oh, No! The car! The car! It's the best damn car ride in my life.
It was something else, not gonna lie. I drove so fast I obviously miscalculated the stopping power of a 6-ton vehicle at well over 60 miles per hour. Vagabond again, I search for another vessel.
Let's see if we can strike a deal with this guy. Hi, do you have the key? Yeah, you're hungry for a deal. Here's the deal.
The art of the deal, and no gas left. In any of my prospected cars. Shocking. Another tussle in the forest and my wounds were now hemorrhaging heavily. I eventually sheltered in a police station, sleeping away my health on a bathroom floor.
Pain? Neck? I've slept on my neck.
There can be no other explanation to this sudden implosion than a funny sleeping position. I laughed to string together whatever sanity I still had left. My Roberta would give the slim fit look another try.
Come on, baby, don't start with me. Okay, start. Start. Come on. You can do it. Start. Start. Don't do this to me, Eleanor. You'll remain my unicorn. Yeah, a lot of turkeys in these woods. I've never seen one, but you can hear them gobble.
They obviously gobbled away my position.
I'm so goddamn tired of this. I just want to kill you.
That was too bad. One of them had a dash bull driver key with a trailer attached to it. A nomad's dream. But it is the death of Roberto, the loud and proud slim-fit wearer, that would give birth to our dear Bob. I landed in a familiar spot in Riverside, your local watering hole, and immediately left. I know. What kind of madman leaves an unattended bar? A man with direction. Who could decline these gourmet canned goods served on such a luxurious platter? Somewhere down the line, a derivation of Robert had been here. It was all part of my spatial memory. And being a tad underweight had me nibble on a few gummy bears and black licorice. The ideal weight is somewhere in between 75 and 85 kilos. If you exceed or fall short of this, you start getting penalties like short of breath, lower carrying capacity, melee damage, and so on. So I needed all the calories I could get. A packet of dried kidney beans really drove my thirst and unhappiness. I was satiated, but parched and depressed. Thirsty, I dragged myself across the street to a burger joint.
Water, 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 water. Drink, 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 drink.
Previous Tinkle Towers, now dead Tinkle Towers, had ransacked the place, but at least they'd left the sink behind. That was very kind of them. My then hot wiring effort was a bust.
Fine. Fine.
And the only thing standing between me and a solid canned meal was a can opener, which this house so kindly provided. And when you stumble upon a quarter wheel of cheese, you ram it down the hatch before anyone can say lactose intolerant. The shed outside had a good amount of usable materials. I left them for now, focused on gathering more food and moving on to the next house. After a fearless charge and a seismic stomp, the cabinets provided not only said food, but a baker's weapon. The bedroom was secluded enough for a deep dive into carpentry, pulled straight from their bookshelf, and the kettle trick I had learned just a few days earlier now provided steady water on the go. By a hard night's snoozage, I woke up a fair bit into day 45. By the way, you're smart, just assume I'm always eating at this point.
Oh, look at this. Our first victim with a rolling pin. Ugh. Okay, we continue. West
turned south as I spotted a van, but my stomach directed me into the kitchen, where I learned my unhappiness was brought on by eating lentils.
That's why I'm severely depressed.
Yeah, dried lentils can have that effect.
See if I can check the vehicle maintenance without pulling any unwanted attention from the undead. Good, 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 good. Gas tank, 87 remaining.
I slammed the hood shut, broke the window, unlocked the door, and my fingers started fiddling.
Oh, he didn't see me.
But he did see me. It was a race against time.
Please, 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 please.
His red banana hammock-clad bottom was the real enemy here. No wonder he came alone.
Can I try again with the hot wiring? Maybe it works a second time. Yes, it does. Oh, hell yeah. Let's avoid zombies and hit a mailbox instead, apparently.
Add mailbox to things to avoid when driving.
Take me places where I've a church. Okay. Whoop. Na 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 na. Music with my friends. Da 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 da. Okay, just hit one. Just hit one, because it's fun. Bam!
Wielding this 4-wheeled ton powerhouse, I couldn't resist.
I've been freed. The shackles that have otherwise shackled me, hindered me, I've been let loose. Now I'm on the countryside. There's crops. We can start a family here. Start a new life. I just need to read a couple of books on farming, I guess.
Well, that's all it's gonna take, folks. A good book on agriculture. Cautious, I stowed away my speed demon, driving at a more manageable pace, not to wreck this car a second into the road trip. My mind wandered into planning mode. I wanted to find a secluded house in the nothingness, surrounded by a tall fence. And this looked like nothingness, but it lacked a fence. Can't hurt breaking in and bonking its valiant defender on the head, though. He'd clearly been a religious fanatic, blasting raps for Christ as he slowly zombified. What a party. I didn't see his holiness anywhere, but the Lord did grace us with plenty of supplies. And a hard hat, protecting our soft noggin with 100% bite and scratch defense. And Jesus himself might as well have lived here, because to my delight there was also a bunch of tools. I replaced the rolling pin with a shovel, giving me a substantial increase in both range and damage, and carefully I peeped through the windows for an ocular pat-down before jumping in for a cool drink and then sped off.
Damn trees. Who put that tree there?
Tree architecture is getting out of hand. Speaking of hands, mine were anxious from the lack of nicotine, and anxiousness is a gateway moodle into harder moodles. So say no early, because panic, bad combat, and ruined sleep comes next.
Is there nobody, like, avoiding their wife smoking somewhere?
Times are truly changing.
Maybe the kids smoke.
No, but almost as bad, their nightstand was popped with sleeping tablets. I snatched a toolbox, which let me offload all of my tools into one convenient spot. And by focusing intently, my noodle and I at least figured out how to place an item in the trunk of a car. Funnily enough, it currently functions as a black hole, because my stupid brain has no clue how to retrieve any of the stowed away items. I spent the night, then proceeded down the road.
Alright, fine. Move. Just move. Up! Left is right, right is left, up is down.
Somewhere along the way, I realized I'd driven right back the way I came, and I wanted to keep to the countryside. So far, it had meant fewer flesh-eating meatbags, and I could easily travel from house to house with my motor vehicle. Obviously, I would need to refuel, so I checked the ones along the way for gas, grabbing all the food and happiness in a bottle I could, all while bashing in the heads of shed zombies and stealing their gas cans.
Listen to that baby purr.
There's a baby in there, huh? I purred down the road, but quickly turned around when I saw how many zombies there were compared to houses. I went back on the main road.
Have I been here? Oh! Collateral damage. Sorry, dude.
I soon passed a stable to find an opportunistic accident. Still looking for gas, I took a quick peek under the hood.
Oh, oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Gas remaining, yeah. Oh, I'm in trouble.
You can usually bonk your way out of trouble like this.
Oh, I'm in trouble. I mean,
But bonking your way out of an escalating situation like this, not advised.
Whoop! Up! 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 Up!
It's also not recommended performing first aid while driving, but I got away with it this time.
Self-driving car. Tesla van. Automatic driving. Pursued at your own risk.
All possible Siphon alternatives were then indeed guarded by zombies.
There should really be a gas station with smokes here somewhere.
I merged onto a larger road and quickly took a peek of where I was.
This map is ridiculous.
Large and intimidating are words that come to mind.
Medical supplies.
Heavily encumbered, I temporarily dropped dozens of supplies not to be low in my shoveling efforts.
I need to be nimble.
I was nimble enough to scoop off the faces of these gown-wearing freeloaders and their lethargic driver.
Whiffed. I just smacked her bottom.
And stole her key and flashlight.
So did you both collide with zero gas in the tank? God damn it makes no sense.
Constantly one step behind this mystery siphoning survivor. Dropping the ambulance key without checking the boot was also a questionable decision. Not that I could operate a trunk anyway. Embarrassing, really.
Ooh, a highway. Gas.
Gas, 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 gas.
And smokes. Except the entire neighborhood of gas-guzzling zombies were there too.
Let's use a lure car. Lure them away.
At a snail's pace, I trickled down the road not to lose anyone.
Just a while longer. Then I'm gonna turn the ship, go back and just fetch the smokes.
This is the most outrageous, elaborate, and dangerous plan I've ever schemed for a pack of smokes. This is madness at its peak.
Okay, let's turn it around.
Still a little worried a few zombies had trailed off and stopped in their tracks, I drifted up the parking lot, smacked the valet, and kept the engine running while I worked on the fuel pump again. No luck there, and with the meatbags slowly making their way toward me, I abandoned the idea and got back to my primary objective.
Oh yeah. Smokes.
Not only smokes, a lighter, and matches, but water and candy too. I didn't bother with the rotten ice cream.
Okay. Let's make our escape. Okay, let's not make our escape. Okay, let's make our escape.
The rumbling engine of my van had begun to draw the dead.
Okay, everybody. You two. Hello. Come in. Chop, chop.
I did a lap.
I'm not quick. I'm so over-encumbered. I'm so very over-encumbered.
But my two legs did well to carry me to safety.
See ya, fellas. Suckers! Eat a dick!
Which I'm sure they do on a regular basis. The hour was growing late, hence the penis joke, and I needed shelter for the night. There was no house at the end of this road except a highly secure fence, with zombies on both sides. Relatively speaking, I was fairly close to the edge of the map at this point. I saw no clear way to make it over the fence, so I doubled back until I found an off-ramp.
There's a gathering.
It would be unwise to go down that road with them in pursuit.
This looks abandoned.
A literal ghost town, if you count zombies as ghosts, which I do. I decided to check it out, leaving the car running.
Because I want a quick getaway if it's needed. Okay, I'm leaving. I don't want to take any unnecessary risks.
Glancing through the windows, the gas station looked no better. Back in the van, and after 30 minutes or so, took an instinctive left.
This might be it. This might be the shelter that will we've been searching for the entire afternoon.
I went deep into the woods, deep into the woods, and took the adventurous off-road for a bit before deferring to the map.
I mean, it must lead somewhere. There's a house at the end of it.
I eventually reached an abrupt end.
It's an antenna. Might be a research station of some kind.
Whatever it was locked down tight.
Guess we're gonna have to smash a window. Let's just double check. There's a door, yeah.
I chose a window on the north side of the building, seeing as the bedroom was located on the opposite end. A more thorough investigation of the station would have to be done in the morning as my body, mind and tummy ached all over. I drank from the water cooler, combined pineapple and peas into a meal worth indulging in, and then inhaled some tar. I had been so stressed running from my persecutors, I had forgotten about my addiction, and finally sought some shut-eye on a comfy mattress.
And this is where I want to sleep. Should be somewhat safe in my opinion.
The window was really my thermal exhaust port. Still, no X-Wing zombies in sight.
Alright, let's get that morning smoke.
I got a general feel for the place and was still undecided if this would be my forever home. If I could get the tarp to cover up the windows, then I could probably stay here for a little while, read a few books, and crank up the experience multiplier. But to do all that, I needed to figure out how to use the trunk of a car.
Oh. That's how you do it. Okay.
Very advanced stuff. And it had its spatial benefits.
15 out of 38. I can jam a bunch of stuff in here.
As it would be my motorhome, I jammed in a lot of useful items not to carry it all on my person.
Feeling a little sad. Yeah, well, just take another smoke then. Come on. I mean, just huff and puff. There we go. All better.
I was met with resistance trying to cover up the windows with my tarp. Nothing really worked, so I actually googled its function.
In Project Zomboid, a tarp is primarily used for crafting containers like a tarp sack, small tarp backpack, tarp chest rig, blah 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 blah. And here I thought I could cover the windows. If I could find sheets or something, then maybe this is this is a great place.
A bit out of nowhere, but yeah.
This is a great place. There can't be too many zombies around. From now on, I will dub thee... I don't have a pen. Just a sec. Just a sec. And now I dub thee... House. My house. In the middle of nowhere, my house.
It was late, so no jump beyond the fences tonight. I'd be reading about cooking instead. And after a replenishing nap, took a bite out of Metalworks Volume 1 as well.
I'm ravenous in my literature.
Which is why I followed it up with Tailoring Volume 1. This led me to consuming the last can of sustenance. And to get more, I would have to dare outside this comforting perimeter. There was only one path ahead. So the plan was simple. Utilize the car, drive into the city, and hoard a storm. The generator I'd so proactively marked on the map was also a juicy prospect. A walking duffel bag had me so intrigued I instinctively slowed down for a bit, but ultimately decided not to go through the trouble of unaliving this amount of zombies for a simple bag.
That might actually be me with the duffel bag, right? Didn't I die there with the duffel bag? That might be me, old me. Bobby Tinkletower, or Roberto, or Robert, or Robert, or Bob, or Bobby.
We get it. You've died like a gazillion times. I eventually did arrive at a familiar setting.
Ooh.
And I began by clearing any lingering zombies.
That's me! This is me! This is old me!
A shadow of his former self.
I'm sorry, Babaganush. Yeah. That's Roberto.
I didn't bat an eye at killing old Roberto, taking his 9mm and then discarding him face down on the tarmac. A brutal world breeds brutal people. He was a necessary sacrifice. Detaching the trailer, I backed up the car, then siphoned the last drop of gas from the dash bulldriver van. The station wagon had little more than fumes left in the tank, but the trunk was packed with useful tools, and the trailer refused to cooperate, so I escalated to a more aggressive approach. Interrupted by a balding and somewhat rotten man, in the literal sense of the word, I must have mixed up the hitches.
What the Okay. I'm towing it.
A fine solution to reach the prize trailer in the end.
Alright, we got a trailer.
Which meant even more spatial benefits to haul back a humongous amount of material. With the storage finally sorted, I did what any sensible survivor would do. Aim for rich people.
That's my old ambulance. Oh, but that had gas. Obviously, that had gas.
A successful siphon later and I found the glove compartment. You could even stow away items under the seats, so that might come in handy. I drove past my initial destination toward wealthier residencies, parking up at the edge of the forest, just outside a row of highly burglable estates, where another familiar face made itself known. I only realized who it was after absolutely obliterating the man.
Bobby! That... I killed 2 of my previous characters now. In the matter of hours.
The haunting mechanic is supposed to work the other way around, but I was very satisfied with this arrangement. Through the woods I went, jumping house to house, collecting as I went, eliminating any scalpers, possibly owners. Food came first, but there was also good books to nab. The third house was the horror show, and I perhaps bit off more than I could chew. A family of this size is hard to take on in such a small bathroom. That was my cue to leave. I ran off and out, bashing the head of the window zombie, then hopping through and around to surprise the authoritarian of the group. Finishing off Mr. Number 2 in the bathroom, his plumbing was deemed unsatisfactory. I scored both the holster and a fitting sidearm, but the real prize was the 5 cans of food hiding in the cupboards. Bolting back to the car, and I got another skill point in light-footedness. Dropped my over-encumbrance, and headed back to the same house for a good night's sleep. It was well into the small hours by then.
Alright, a breakfast blow. Deliver me from evil.
Nothing beats savagely caving in the face of a grandma zombie after that first smoke. I went and got my toolbox, and having the entire house for myself and with no one to stop or question my methods, I did some handiwork. Disassembling whatever could be disassembled.
I'm taking apart the entire house.
This is what happens when you leave a man alone for too long. We famously need nothing more than a mattress and a flat screen TV. The female mind can't comprehend it. Anyway, I managed to get my carpentry to level 1, and by experimenting with the curtains, I finally achieved what I wanted back at the safe house.
That's what I was talking about. So it is possible, just not with a tarp. Let's bring canned peaches. And a box of white wine before bed would be nice. Yes.
Heavy is the burden of sleep these days. I did a quick loop to the car and back to offload some materials, keeping enough planks and nails to barricade the bedroom window. I'm sure I kept enough for the door as well, but the option suddenly disappeared and I still can't figure out why. I settled for what I had accomplished and read up on mechanics before hitting the hay.
It is a foggy morning.
Finishing off the book, I removed the barricade, curious whether you'd get your materials back. And I did. 3 planks became 4. Good to know. Though the option to barricade the window was now also gone. Someone, anyone out there, please, explain.
Hey you. Good? You're good? You're good?
He wasn't good. He was the opposite of good. But he wasn't a zombie anymore, so that was an improvement. Reading took the better part of my day, and I only managed to clear 1 other house. So I prepared my new residency for nocturnal activities and rid the yard of weeds, all while wearing my new red lumberjack shirt. The invasive infestation had taken root inside as well, so bonking became my pesticide of choice. With the house clear, I scooped up a good amount of gadgets from the dinner table and disassembled a radio to increase my knowledge of electronics. The days flew by, and the 13th of August would be my last day raiding this neighborhood. Being an early morning, I took apart another house, and all my amassed materials did not help over-encumber me while traversing fences. I was indeed very clumsy at this point. The trunk was now at capacity. Luckily, the trailer could still house a bit more, because 2 houses were left on my agenda. And of course, the first one was a house of sin and fornication. Funneling them through the window had worked before, but the sex-deprived lady had me tripping.
Whoop! No. No.
I avoided a bite and got away with only a scratch on my right forearm. Hopefully from the fall and not her dirty fingernails. I made a point of tearing apart scrap electronics and the occasional piece of furniture I came across. The tussle had left me filthy and parched, so I set about remedying that. I investigated the bull driver in the adjacent driveway. The gas tank was empty, no surprise, but I could uninstall the battery, and heavy was the task of carrying it around. Not that I noticed. A nearby rumble made me realize I wasn't alone, so I dropped my heaviest items to be lighter on my feet. While one zombie was otherwise occupied headbutting a door, I got the drop on another, only to be immediately ambushed by a third headbanger. The shovel's attack speed isn't top tier, and with even a little extra weight your movement becomes strained, and it's easy to compromise yourself when you get out of sync. But that was another kitchen drenched in blood. The extra food in the cupboards was enough for me to say bye-bye, run back to my temporary safe haven, read about foraging, take a snooze, dump my findings in the car, and fire up the engine.
We're going home. Gonna have to find some more gasoline, though.
Knackered, famished, and still miles from home, I couldn't resist the seduction of a supposedly shortcut. So with some brilliant reversing maneuvers, I navigated onto the dirt road. The car and trailer was at an extreme amount of weight, though.
No.
Slowly slipping in the mud, I eventually broke free and could merge back onto the main road. Crisis averted.
Oh, no way!
Crisis back on. Wrecked, the car wouldn't start, and I wasn't going to stick around for the zombies to eat me like a drive-through meal.
This is gonna be the end, isn't it? This is gonna be the end. I don't have... You fall asleep behind the wheel once.
Gotta be at least a couple of times at this point. You oblivious narcoleptic.
Did I ruin the car, or is it just... This guy's crawling.
After some shovel slappage, it finally dawned on me. Resistance would be futile, and so would be any attempt at springing life into the car. So I left the car for the dense forest, trying to shake them off the best I could. Obviously, while also maniacally huffing and puffing to lower my anxious panic. Then a multitude of problems occurred to me. I had left all the food in the car and I was famished. My exhaustion steadily rose and there were still a few strays popping up.
I hate that for me. It's a long way to the safe house. I don't have any food, my car is crashed. I don't have the capabilities or the knowledge or the skill to actually repair my car. Oh, it's a cluster beep.
I might as well have dug my own grave at this point, but I decided to carry on. An equally good plan. Exhaustion took its toll, so I removed what I deemed unnecessary, mostly of the entertainment variety, and I sat down to rest. I wanted to be able to jog if it came to it, which turned out to be a great idea because the forest was festered with dead campers.
No. I don't agree. I don't consent to being bit.
Principles was all I had left at this point, and even those told me to leave, so I hastily made for the car. It was my only plan to secure a bit of sustenance for my upcoming odyssey. The immediate surroundings was clear, though it wouldn't take long until someone would come knocking, so I grabbed a soda, some canned food, mistakenly nabbed the lard, and some chocolate. Intestines intact.
Lard. Don't need the lard.
I wasn't in such a state of desperation that I wanted to munch on lard. That bit comes much later.
It's a long trip through the woods.
A trip fueled by a can of sardines and a bag of chips. But my body was at an otherwise total depletion, feeling I could faint at any moment. I had made it about a quarter of the way at around 10 p.m, and as I slowly slipped into darkness, so did my thoughts.
Why am I even heading back there? Do I even have anything of value there? I'm not so sure I do.
I kept going for the promise of a comfortable bed. At midnight, it was pitch black, but with a very temperate 21 degrees Celsius. And at around 1:30 in the morning, I finally reached my destination. Knackered, I hung new curtains, and when my head hit the pillow, I didn't wake up until almost 3 p.m. the day after. A bit peckish, I indulged in a late potato breakfast, followed by a nice by-the-water dispenser tepid hygiene cleanser. Not very luxurious, but in these times, what more can you ask for? Forming a plan, the closest traces of a society was the trailer park to my east, my best shot at acquiring a new vehicle, seeing as my other spontaneously broke fighting a tree. Giving the supposed shortcut another chance, I followed the fence, and immediately regretted it as zombies came gushing out of the bushes.
What? Oh!
For a more advantageous ocular situation, my best plan was to sneak north until I reached the open space of a road. There would of course be dangers along this road, sure, but at least I got the advantage of sight. I spotted 3 postal workers with only a semi-banged up truck. I couldn't resist such a potential, but they did my day dirty as one managed to slip through a scratch. So I had to use up my last bit of disinfectant. Again, this is entirely useless against zombification, so it might be a better idea to wait until and if the wound starts to fester, not to waste anything. That would be stupid though, but I'm a stupid man, so it's all canon to my story. The van turned out to be an absolute wreck on the inside, but with a convenient 100% gas left in the tank. I marked the map of such a pleasant find, and from the trunk, I grabbed a first aid kit and an electronics magazine. On my travels again, I cursed the time. It was already late. I also experimented with the evolution of walking upright instead of hunched over. I'm not sure it offered a noticeable speed increase though.
Oh, right in the coochie. Animal print, yeah, figures.
I probably could have ignored this pack of zombies, but one of them had a very nice coat, fending off bites. I had to have it. The killing shenanigans worked up my appetite, so I gobbled up my last supply of canned goods, a nice meal of corned beef. Another slaying meant another calming cigarette, and by the 6th or 7th zombie, my trusty rusty shovel finally shattered into pieces.
No way. I was afraid of that.
Nowhere near my intended destination. I took shelter inside a nearby farm. It came with a juice box, a new rolling pin, a sheltered bed, and some pre-snoozage entertainment. Changing bandages the next morning, and I noticed a wound to be infected. It might just be a regular infection, but as you can imagine, trepidation crept in as I suspected I'd soon be afflicted by the ominous queasy-moodle. Still dark outside, I soothed myself with a juice box, functioning as a perfectly acceptable adult pacifier. And edging closer to the next house, I realized I'd been here before. I knew there to be a taxicab ready to be plucked from the driveway. Searching the house, I unearthed the key.
Okay, there's someone in this house. Someone, there's 2 naked people. Why?
Reproduction. Understandable. Recreation. Straight to hell. Last time around I also missed the most stylish satchel.
Now, somehow, we need to get out and check the integrity of that taxi. Oh, there's 4 of them there.
In my hands was a new weapon in the form of a heavy metal wrench. It did well to soften the bone marrow of a zombie head. A second sneak up and I pulled the same trick.
That's another one.
I spared the rest any mind games and went to investigate the car. It was in reasonable condition. It was only missing one vital ingredient: gas. The search for it had led me to a nearby shed, where I avoided a pack in favor of just one. I lured it inside for a silent kill. The turned body wasn't dressed like a survivor, but the findings on this map suggested otherwise.
Shotgun kills 12, axe kills 20, car kills 11. Okay, so another survivor is having fun counting how many zombies they kill.
Making the apocalypse into a game is next level badassery.
Maggots. Food? No.
Pondering my next move and whether I could siphon gas if I found a bottle, I skimmed the map.
Industry, maybe. They might have a gas tank.
Moving about on my own 2 legs again, this mostly burned house had a few cupboards having survived the fire. I grabbed the cocoa powder as an emergency snack, and by the contents of this shed, I opted to turn away.
Oh.
Miles of wilderness except a lonely stable, I slipped by 2 packs of zombies. Unnoticed? No. Don't be stupid. But this time I managed to shake them off in good fashion through the stable. Hiding in the house just behind, I finally caught my breath.
I don't remember what I needed for the taxi. I did this yesterday, and I've already forgotten.
It's the one thing that's always been missing. Gas. Snap out of it.
Okay, I'm back.
Good.
Look at this crack then. Didn't see you hugging the wall there. Here, have a wrench. You're not you when you're dead.
It wasn't a spectacular house in the terms of useful items. A granola bar and a pickle were about the most interesting things I could find. Still, it looked like a good place to spend the night, if I could just rid it of the infestation.
Ugh! I'll slap you. I'll slap and slap and slap you.
Except for this Good Cooking Magazine Volume 1, teaching me a variety of cookie doughs, and an electronics magazine with a remote control recipes. That will surely come in handy. It was only 4 p.m. and I was already spent. I woke up 7 hours later with nothing but time to kill. A sleeping pill enabled me to wake up at a more reasonably hour, severely rested. Day 54 was a foggy affair, and the outside world wasn't very inviting. Just listen to this eerie atmosphere.
This must inhibit the zombies' vision as well. They don't have fog sight, do they?
Judging by earlier experiences, they had infrared and X-ray vision by all accounts.
Come on, do it for Papa. Oh, fuck. This is gonna attract some attention. There's one. There's another one. Oh, Jesus lips.
Even though I was in a state of panic, I was able to admire how good the forest looked with the thick layer of foggy goo engulfing the trees.
I can hear a zombie, but can they really see me? I think the fog here is actually my friend. I don't need to be afraid.
Fog do reduce their vision to a hard squint, but they heavily rely on sound, and I can't really see anything either. I'm not so sure it's a good situation to find yourself in.
Oh shit! They can see everything!
Told you. Emerging the treacherous cornfield, I took cover in this small shack, cowering in fear behind a row of boxes shielding me, out of sight.
Ooh. They're just looking through the window. They're not trying to get in right now.
I'd obviously forgotten how to sit down like a normal person, compromising my position by first standing up and announcing myself. Great.
They're trying to get in.
Luckily, there was another uncontested window I snuck through while my persecutors were busy banging on the other. I circled back in between the cornfields, removing my bandages while doing so.
Oh! Why? How did this happen? How did you get my scent? I'm clean. I wash myself every morning. I mean, my hygiene is immaculate. What's happening? How can you smell me?
To be clear, their hunkers can't find you by the way of smell. I'm just loud, constantly, which is probably why my sprinting skills keeps increasing. Hunched and crouched look stealthy, but the game only cares about your movement speed, not posture. I navigated the fog best I could, munching on canned provender, disposing what zombies interrupted my travels, and obviously looked for a new car. This one-bedroom apartment would do well for a quiet respite, and thankfully,
thank God, no alarm.
Pickles and soda was generously provided, with a key to a Chevalier, though that turned out to be a dead end. Apprehensive about the thick fog, I covered the windows, filled up my water bottle, and decided to enjoy a bottle of white wine.
Oh, inebriated. Coordination slightly impaired. Yeah, it's fine though.
Sure was, and the alcohol had me crashing pretty hard.
Works as well as the sleeping tablets.
14 long hours of sleep later and the fog turned into rain. Canned supplies secured, and I left the neighboring house and doubled back down the road.
Oh, I'm getting my steps in every day. It's important. A car.
With a trunk that provides.
Empty gas can. Nice. That's what I need. Question is, maybe I could just... Or do I need to equip it maybe?
I did not.
Siphon gasoline.
Glorious combustible liquid. How I've yearned for you.
No way. It had gas? It had gas! Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man.
The car was too banged up to function, so I immediately took my quarter-filled can of gasoline and rushed through the forest where another car was accompanied by the grounds of a manor.
Oh, let there be more gas. Let there be more gas. So if the option is there to siphon gas, it's got gas. Add. No.
As a burglar, I was stumped with my lack of lockpicking skills. At least I knew the window to be my friend.
Oh, no way. Not again.
Betrayed by my one and only friend.
Oh, no way. Not again. I've got enough gas. Let's just head back to the taxi.
The embracing safety of the cornfield was enticing, but it was already occupied in what felt like every direction.
Oh. They're just swarming. They're swarming. Plop! 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 Out in the open, out in the open.
Heavy was my bag, weakening my poor knees. In fact, forget the knees. The entire kinetic chain was working overtime to support all that weight. But with a single redhead in pursuit, I decided not to commit the profoundly stupid act of tossing out any provisions. So I lingered on the outskirts, where a zombie promptly found me.
What, so, yeah, the gas can. If I equip it secondary, it removed some. The pistol, remove the pistol. Don't need it. Crossword magazine, cocoa powder, canned tomato. I'm soon there. Soap. Okay, I don't need it. I need the cigarettes.
I wouldn't need them all though, but how much can 7 small paper cylinders really weigh? Total waste.
No! No, 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 no!
I must confess I put too much faith in both my hard hat and trench coat. They did little to stop me from being completely devoured.
In the shoulder, the neck. Ah! How dare you do what I would do in your situation? Goddamn zombies. Oh, and I was going back to the taxi with gasoline. And I endangered it all by not paying attention behind the wheel. Kids, let that be a lesson to you. Hello, everyone. If you see this screen, it means I've given up. I will not continue. Because I will be resetting the game. Survivor. Riverside, mother...
There wasn't much of a process to this thought except that I wanted a new world lush with canned goodies.
Bobo Tinkle Maneuver. I've demonstrated this just a few times.
Prescience, the rare ability to know the future because you keep repeating it.
Do I have a plan, by the way? Do I have a plan?
Do I ever have a plan, and the efficacy to execute said plan? No, but provender was an absolute priority, and I knew where to get some, seeing as this is at least the 3rd time I've spawned into this exact bar. Electricity was back again, of course.
I mean, the map stays the same. I thought it was like procedurally generated or something, but the map actually stays the same.
So concerning the sheer size and scale of this playground, I'd probably need a few thousand hours to learn it or get good. With produce and refrigerated products in the front and non-perishables in the back, I morphed into a weak and over-encumbered pack mule.
I don't think it's open. Let me try a couple more times.
Unwilling to compromise my body, my temple, and its movement, I decided it best to store everything in a secure location until a vehicle and a can opener had been procured. After changing into additional denim, I bent over even more, hoping for stealthier results. I did not succeed.
Bobo, what are you doing?
Brawling my way through the search for a car, or the means to ignite another, a few denim-jealous zombies multiplied exponentially. I had to shake them off, best done by breaking line of sight through a building. The owners clearly knew what needed protecting in the cupboards. A can opener.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, I made my escape. Up. Up. Okay. Perfect.
I was sure I had gone with the standard survival settings and hadn't touched the alarm frequency, but at this point, I had my suspicions.
High visibility vest. That's a bad idea. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Ripe for the taking.
After I hotwired the Red Menace, I went around looking for a gas tank, which I found in Red Menace number 2, and I was lucky enough to find an ample amount in the cars adjacent. I was, however, suffering from a severe case of exhaustion, and found a convenient shelter while taking a bite out of an apple.
Baseball bat. Oh, I can make a weapon from those. I think I saw it in the crafting menu, like 3 years ago. 3 baseball bats. Oh yeah.
The baseball bats would surely be good weapons on their own merit, but one can always enhance their deadliness with a couple of well-placed nails. Among other recreational equipment, I found a nice and protective hockey helmet, and after a not-so-restorative sleet on a dirty bathroom floor, I popped the trunk to stow away some of my junk. But due to some inventory hassle, it led me to throw a bunch of non-perishables on the ground instead of in the trunk. So that was clearly a success. The car, meanwhile, oozed sportiness.
This car has got some juice, baby.
It begged to be driven fast.
What the f***? Why are there so many oh yeah, the car alarm.
I had to be fast. Some evasive maneuvers with a nifty parking spot, I ran in to ransack my provisional warehouse.
Oh baby. Oh Bobby.
My whole entity was salivating. Outside it was relatively calm, only one had caught my trail, but fearing I'd get caught with my defenses down, I didn't stop to unburden myself before driving away.
I'd say it's somewhere down here.
If you've been paying attention or understands the limits of my imagination, you probably know where I'm heading. The fog didn't help with visibility, but after a fair bit of distance, I stopped to check the condition of this van. An absolute wreck. But it's the inside that counts, and it was 100% combustible. Before I could take advantage, my earlier concerns came to life.
Is it just one? No, there's more. Okay, we'll leave. Actually. Okay.
There were more lurking in the smoky fog, so I decided to leave anyway. Then a moment of hubris struck when I saw gas and more.
What am I doing? This is stupid.
And it sure would be. Lesson semi-learned. I could attract and lure them away with the horn, but I abandoned that idea too, probably for the better.
Let's see what this baby can do! Up! What the f*** did I do that for? Minor damage, okay. Okay, let me handle these two doofuses.
The doofuses just lay there, taking a proper beating, a testament to their excellent protection, bulletproof vests and all. I relieved them of those, plus their backup gear.
I think this is it. I think this might be it.
They say you're statistically more likely to get into an accident the closer you are to home. They might be correct.
Here it is. I actually found it.
Checking the damage, it wasn't great, not terrible. This time around, only one of the units was unlocked, and inside, some juicy tools. I did an ocular pat-down of the place, then chose a suitable window for access. Carefully, I doubled down my efforts, stocking the shelves, then preparing my sleeping den with a proper visibility obstruction. In the morning, I enhanced my baseball bat into the spiked variety with a hammer and nails before doing one last sweep for usable materials. And you've probably figured out that Bobo isn't long for this world, judging by how much detail I'm suddenly providing. So this might be a good time to cut to when life suddenly took a sharp left turn for Bobo.
Me, no!
After bite and all, it was just about getting more gas and supplies for the future newborn, Bobo Jr.
Okay, you know what? Oh, jam, I'm limping. Yeah. These are the last steps of old Bob.
I stripped naked and preserved everything of use in the trunk, then limped into the driver's seat. You don't need a shirt to drive. In fact, you look a lot cooler without one. And by the way, call me Limp. Limp Biscuit. If only we could fly! Following the road, I limped myself to a fair bit of gas.
Oh, hell yeah! That looks pretty good. On closer inspection, it doesn't look good at all.
But there was nothing wrong with the gasoline, and I found my first roll of toilet paper. It was appropriately categorized as medical, which means wiping my ass is considered a medical procedure. So I'm a doctor now. I found the speedometer, which might finally help suppress my abnormally heavy foot, and eventually decided to park the car for as much of an easy access as possible, then limp away to my inevitable death.
Get off!
An original Congo line formed.
Let's remove the bandages. Let's bleed out Kurt Russell. Let's bleed out, Kurt.
I got the burglar template again.
Yeah, Kurt Russell it is. Oh, we're pretty close. I think I put the car over here.
But there will most likely be quite a few zombies in our way.
Whoa. Whoa.
A hefty cabinet supplied more than a day or two in food, and sorting through the bookcase would teach me how to maintain generators. That'd be great, I thought, if I could just get my hands on a generator. You'd think I'd be tired of reclaiming my dead character's belongings, re-establish a base, then dying again due to idiocy. But you'd be wrong. Idiocy is what fuels this whole thing. And idiocy has momentum. My stained rolling pin got replaced by one of those hard and elongated sticks. No, not one of those. And a kettle would be my drinking cup for the time being. And I caught a stray following me. I batted forth, bonking everyone and anyone in my path. After listening to some involuntary radio waves and munching on a carrot, I was afoot once more. My mechanical instinct couldn't resist popping the hood off of a couple of cars. Out of the two, the truck best suited my interests.
I'm doing it. Just like that, we have another car.
So I did what you do. I parked the car and continued on foot. There's a thought to all of this, so please spare your judgment just a while longer. My enormous stride saw my light-footedness and sneaking abilities rise, which might have been the reason of just attracting one out of this entire bunch. I don't count this fool from the other group. And dilly-dallying for too long, and the game has its own way of hurrying you up.
I can hear you breathing, you Whoa!
That nature scare was the impetus to me speeding up. I was also bleeding out without gauze in extreme panic. And did I mention the horde of zombies now following me? Well, now you know. I sprinted to the car to secure a buffer zone should anything go awry firing up the engine.
And we're off. Ooh, yeah, baby.
It felt good gripping the steering wheel of this fantastic sedan again. And let's hope it's got enough horsepower to tow this truck, because that was always the plan. I made it increasingly hard for myself parking it too close, but with a small adjustment and tugging at the right door, I floored it.
We did it. We got a car. We got the car.
It was a high-speed car chase, that's for sure.
Oh, no, you didn't.
On tarmac again, and after a wicked Tokyo drift, I chugged along nicely.
Yeah, they do get trapped in between the cars here for some reason. No.
At these slow speeds, that tend to happen. I made a quick stop to grab a bandage, and after midnight and a treacherous road later, I arrived back at base. First thing was obviously to feed my dark passenger a smoke, clean and feed myself before hanging up a curtain and then snoozing for a bit. I spent the next few days on home turf, reading about fishing, studying generators, and puffing the occasional cigarette.
I need to suck in that ash, suck in that tar, get that nicotine in my blood, in my veins, in my heart.
Right.
It gets lonely sometimes during the night. But then the morning comes and it's just as lonely.
It's official. I've lost my marbles. Farming and trapping was day 63's literature, while day 64 was all about inventory, gearing up and preparing for my next voyage. Sorting the car, keeping tools available, stowing away whatever resources and material I could into the shelves, and I had to make sure I had a vehicle in some sort of drivable condition. The sedan's engine had me a bit worried. The truck was in overall worse condition, but the engine was at least in an okay state. Fewer zombies had grazed its hood possibly. With my limited mechanical knowledge, I did what I could to polish this turd, grabbing the tire pump to inflate the tires to a nice even pressure, filling her up with gas, moving over the tools, and a full gas can filled her up to about 30%. So you guessed it, I need to find more gas. After a night's good sleep and a packed lunch, day 65 is when I left the comfort of my nest again.
So I got four canned goods and some peanut butter. I can start making my way. It's an early morning, but you know, early bird gets the worm. Or bitten.
It went against everything I stood for, but I restrained my heavy foot and committed myself to the will of the speedometer.
I've got a desire, a need for speed, danger. I'm a man, a young buck, ready to mount the world with my penis. We do know there's like a ton of zombies up here at Riverside,
which is why I headed east down the road, enjoying a meal of corned beef behind the wheel. I passed an electrical substation, following a fence until my greedy subconscious told me to take a left, through what looked like to be a very rich estate entrance. The estate employees wasn't as interested in my toll as they were in my flesh, so I trespassed on through, reaching a large parking lot.
a lot of cars here.
Christmas for a gas-guzzling vulture like myself. As I siphoned away, my eyes did linger on the park ranger car. The outside looked to be in good condition. But soon enough, the gate attendants had finally caught up, demanding payment, and my life would apparently suffice. I wasn't willing to vacate the premise, or die for that matter, so heads would fly. They were a persistent bunch.
Nothing like a cigarette after a kill. The only thing missing? A woman.
Preferably the living kind, but in these times? I continued the fuel extraction, getting stuck at this 90-degree angle, and while refueling, my eyes stayed glued on the park ranger rover.
I think we have a new car.
That is, if I'd ever sort out this hot wiring.
Cue soundtrack, lowrider.
I clearly don't deserve such a splendid soundtrack.
I'm butchering the job here. I need 50 cars and I have no cars. It never rains, but it pours. There we go.
The storm had intensified, so I waited a bit before realizing I would have to wait the whole day. Instead, I topped her up with the gas from the plain pickup truck and roamed around the estate. Connected to the grounds were a steeplechase course, and a nice one at that. And right next to the stables was a barrel of rainwater with a warning label marked tainted. Keeping my mouth well and dry, I moved over to the main building.
I mean, it's gonna be an alarm here for sure, right? Nice.
The posh furniture inside looked suspiciously out of place. Anyway, the tainted water outside had me thinking about cooking and cookware. So I grabbed all the stainless steel I could. And no manor, regardless of wealth, is too good for canned goods. I took it all. The hour was growing late, and I was already ridiculously tired. I pondered sleeping in the car, but as the windshield was broken, I figured it to be a bad idea.
Stop resisting. Let's just drive back, actually. Let's just drive back. Asleep.
I lived relatively close after all, and roughly it only took about 1.5 hours of driving. I left the torment of unloading the car till morning and went straight to bed. Unclear to me, the speed of time that night at least doubled. Apparently it's indicative of how deep you sleep, as well as if there are any zombies close to crash your slumber party.
I can't run and smoke at the same time?
The car parts I would stow away in the units outside, and the day was of overall inventory management, with volume 1 of foraging to seal off the day. Well, actually, a can of tasty beans. I found opening the first aid kit yielded some disinfectant wipes, so that was good. What wasn't good was me trying to apply the whole kit to my person previously and wondered why it wouldn't work.
My god, I'm stupid. Oh, we knew that, didn't we?
It is constantly on display, so if you haven't understood that yet, I'm sorry to say you're as stupid as I am. The weather was so miserable it meant another day at base. Disassembling this makeshift radio followed by 2 halves of a desk. But as my carpentry skill was still close to 0, it didn't produce much usable material. With additional time on my hands this day, I kept busy, pumping out burpees, working out the intricate details on how to rig a snare trap, and if I'd ever managed to catch a zombie or a moose, I'd let fate decide. There were more structures to disassemble over here, so I got cracking, but
no usable material.
I at least whittled steady experience into my craft. I had to constrain myself from taking apart my interior doors, thinking they would serve as another layer of protection should a zombie ever come barging through the windows, which might be sooner than I wanted it to.
Is that gonna drive zombies to this place? God damn it, if that's the case.
It might pull a few in this direction, but as long as I stay inside and not show my face, the helicopter won't linger for too long. I finally went to bed, and the next day's clear skies meant a trip off campus.
Hello there, car. Reveal your secrets.
A secret in liquid form, yes please.
I can't see this car half the time. Siphon me up, baby.
I went down the same path as previously, taking a small pit stop to satisfy my intrigue of this little building, presumably an electrical substation. Security was airtight. I would need a propane torch and a welder mask to get past the fence, just like the one locked unit back at base. Behind the wheel again, I went further east, past the estate manor, circling around a flipped car. I almost came to a stop, but they were too many for my taste. At the end of the estate's border, I crossed a bridge and settled for a collision with 3 zombies that turned out to be 4 zombies. Oh well, they got to taste the wrath of my bat all the same.
Oh, I can siphon more.
I went 2 more times and now had a car fully topped up with a full can of gas in reserve. Among a set of handy medical supplies was a trauma bag, increasing my carrying capacity quite a bit.
Oh, I'm anxious. Smoke requires matches lighter. Oh no.
My lighter was out of fuel, a seemingly stubborn thorn in my side, and my mattress was stored away back at home. I stopped at numerous vehicles looking for a lighter, but all I checked was the trunks and I neglected or forgot about the glove box, so I would remain anxious for now. I regained composure the only way I know how, with a massacre. I grabbed 2 more guns I probably won't ever use, just because the art of close combat is king in this game, and their accommodating vehicles had a roadblock in the boot, perfect for setting up back at base. I also grabbed 2 new set of gas cans from the other boot. The sun was about to go down, coming up to a small farm, so I parked the car for the night, and made sure my new house was empty.
This is my house. I paid the motherfuckers in this house.
With its final blow, my bat broke after having decimated a total of 30 zombies at least. At least. I had just enough time to replace it with the hockey stick lodged in the back of my previous perpetrator. But that broke as well. Lousy build quality. Guess the old boot would have to suffice.
You didn't happen to have a stone hammer. It's better than nothing.
There was still a zombie inside causing a ruckus in my motel to be, so I grabbed the stone hammer whilst I was interrupted yet again. Unfortunately, the hammer made out of stone broke after my 3rd interruption. I grabbed the rather large backpack and replaced my trauma bag for the extra bag capacity.
That is rather large. Indeed.
With 1 deviled zombie left, I grabbed a hammer from a bookcase. I didn't want to go in empty-handed. Handled, I snacked on a fresh lime and grapefruit.
I'm eating a lime. Ugh.
And after securing the immediate area, went for a snooze. Waking up, I got to work disassembling everything I could. There was a lot of unusable scrap produced, but I also got a few planks and nails. I think I counted 2. And apparently this wasn't fun enough for Kurt Russell. He was growing bored.
How is it boring disassembling these stuff? Why am I getting bored? I don't agree.
How many opportunities do you get tearing down whatever you want in a fully furnished house? Not many. Anyway, with the scrawny material acquired, I could repair my broken bat 1 nail at a time. Towards the garage, both doors were locked, and I opted to stop them off instead of using my frail bat, sparing its durability. It was slim pickings inside, but I at least produced a plank disassembling a table, then walked into something either sinister or very tragic.
Oh. What's happened? No chance. We take no chances. Key? I like keys. Keys are good.
They're even better when you find what they unlock, which I didn't. There were some fertilizers in one of the crates. I grabbed that.
I think that was it.
Except for the bag of plaster on the shelves, there wasn't much else.
Yeah, I'm sad because I'm an addict and I need to smoke and I don't have any lighters. That's why I'm sad. At least I've got my canned goods.
It's no nicotine, but it's protein. Almost bitten, I attributed my unscathed skin to my bite defense outfit. It had finally made the difference. Along a toolbox there were some food, scrap electronics and such, but I was most happy about the new curtains.
Okay, the car's full. Tomorrow we drive home.
It is now tomorrow, and I'm about to drive home.
Start? Start?
At 25 degrees outside, I don't think the cold had anything to do with the sluggish ignition, so I stopped and questioned the integrity of the battery.
Battery's great. Battery's great.
Seeing as there's no spark plugs or starting motor to concern oneself about, I can only assume it's the engine's overall condition that's causing a stir. On my way home I stopped and guzzled some gas, and then delayed the trip back investigating this dirt road, leading me to an isolated homestead, where someone had stowed away some interesting items in boxes. I got a bag of concrete, ignored 4 cans of paint that I didn't know what to do with, overlooked a box of clothes, but grabbed the metalwork magazine for a metal sheet recipe. I also snagged volume 2 of a couple of books as well. The shed provided welding rods, and the main house, with running water and electricity still handy, had me fill up my water bottle and take a crude shower by the sink.
Let's go. Side adventure.
And I would remain within the side adventure spirit, forgetting about home. I successfully avoided a cluster of disaster, though I played with the idea of ramming them at 90 miles per hour.
Oh yes, yes, that's what we want. That's what we want. No. There we go. Settle down.
Having soothed the car, I soothed myself, bashing my oppressors in the temple. There were at least a couple more brain-devouring aficionados coming my way when a distant gun suddenly fired,
Shots fired.
leading away any would-be walker problems. Another survivor most likely. Thank you, kind stranger. And thank you, topped-up Chevalier. This gas will surely come in handy.
And it's a lot. Hail Satan. That's awesome.
71% remained, and all my jugs of gas were now at full capacity. Detaching the trailer, I had to tow myself to the good stuff. And good it was, as my newfound trailer capacity helped me relieve a lot of my crushing weight. But one thing on my hungry mind was the food supply. With no farm or crops, I solely relied on canned goods to avoid food poisoning. And unsurprisingly, any knowledge of how to get crops going had so far eluded me. All I had within the bounds of farming was a bag of fertilizer. Basically, poop. I had poop, that's all I had, a measly bag of excrement. All too late, I stopped to interrupt the munching on a supposedly fisherman.
No way! What the How did you miss?
It was just a scratch, but I was still madly irritated. The biggest opponent slowly creeping in whilst playing this game is complacency. There was absolutely no reason for me to stop and protect an old cadaver. Supplies for this trip was slowly dwindling when I happened upon a gated community without a gate. A seemingly rich quarter with minimal signs of a zombie disturbance, and one house had all one could desire in the kitchen: canned food and juice boxes. The trip lives on. Such a rich neighborhood demanded an empty backpack. And sure enough, in the bathroom of this kind of locale, I found exactly what you'd expect. A working girl.
You're in your sexiest pajamas.
With entertainment off the shelves, mashed brains on the floor, and fishing gear in the bag, I borrowed the second floor mattress for a recovering night's sleep. In the morning, I quickly ran through and cleared the second house, while the third proved more vigilant and deadly prosperous.
Oh, that was effective.
I found a book for mechanics and changed to a leather jacket for greater torso and arm defense. There were still a few vulnerable blind spots in my defenses, but overall my protective clothing were greatly improved. With an abundance of items, the garage proved to be the place. Too much to haul back in one sweep, I prepared for a later visit. Oblivious, I overlooked a second box of matches, and after raiding the liquor cabinet and sweeping the second floor, I retreated to the garage and made things much easier for my frail body. Gotta conserve energy where energy can be conserved. Also, I was lazy. I judged it perfectly, meaning I could haul items directly from the shelves into the trailer.
There we go. It would be foolish not to go home with all this stuff.
I never did find a lighter though.
Oh my god, it's a trip. It's a trip.
I marked the map not to make the mistake of returning. After all, the one-way trip home took a whole 5 hours.
Oop. First things first. We smoke. And we smoke good.
Luckily, I had 3 boxes of matches back at base, and not knowing when my next puff would be, I didn't take any chances.
You know what? I'm gonna hit another one. Oh. Ah! Stop. Stop. Okay. Let's not have that in the backpack no more.
I'd picked up an alarm clock in my travels, and it seems the previous owner had a slightly different wake-up schedule. Fortunately, I found myself far off in a secluded forest with no one to hear. Awake, I welcomed the golden hour whilst reading Mechanics Volume 1.
Can you wean yourself off being an addict? Or addicted to cigarettes and nicotine? It must have gone like 3 days or something without a cigarette. Or it's just not possible, and you just feel bad.
That is sadly the case. It's all about damage control. Speaking of damage, my fender had picked up the odd zombie here and there, so I evaluated the condition of my truck. It was still drivable, but patching it up would soon become my problem. Whilst home, I offloaded both the trailer and car, going back and forth. After all, I had amassed quite a bit, and the roadblock I'd snatched from a police car earlier helped fortify my gate.
Yay!
It wouldn't help much alone. I'd need to find at least a couple more, all in the name of not being devoured in my sleep again.
Oh, so much stuff. So much stuff. We'll continue this in the morning, because now I'm so super tired.
I spent another day at base, finishing up the inventory cleanup when I heard a horrid screech coming from the woods.
Ugh. Well, at least it wasn't me.
That is a man solely focused on his own survival. Good man, priority straight. After a reading session of First Aid Volume 1, I handcrafted another spiked bat, noting that my current one would break after another hit or two.
Slow reader, yeah. I can tell, but I don't lack any sort of discipline, so I can read through the entire day if I'd like. That's a superpower that I myself don't possess. But Kurt Russell, he is the embodiment of discipline.
Very much so. That was Russell's 6th book completed. It would be wise to convert some of that theoretical knowledge into practice. A majestic display of reversing ingenuity had me back on the road, clueless about both destination and purpose. I figured I might as well clear my driveway of these rodents, and finally make it a private lane. I didn't want them encroaching on my lands. Predictable, my first swing of the day broke my bat, but at least bumped my long blunt proficiency. Hunger crept in, and while reaching into my pockets I noticed I'd forgotten to pack a lunch. All I had was a jar of peanut butter and a single granola bar. Lazily, I decided it would be enough. Besides, there were still plenty of houses hoarding canned goods. There were additional simpletons along the road, which I kindly put out their misery, and then traveled where my heavy foot so sought to steer me, taking wrong turns and investigating whatever nonsense presented itself. slowing down as I came across a truck stop, needing to replace or gather more matches somewhere, somehow, but...
I can't stop here. There's too many zombies. It's gonna be too dangerous. Jesus, it's going on for miles and miles and miles and miles.
I eventually opened the map to lay out somewhat of a destination.
Yeah, I found the other maps here. So I can drive to one of these places. It's quite the trip, though.
That was quite the understatement, but it was the closest to a real destination I could imagine. In transit, I saw a huddle of zombies which reminded me of some good old American football.
22, 24, 50 or something. Hut, 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 hut.
Please excuse my ignorance, I've yet to watch a full game. There were pit stops, bad dirt roads, regrettable decisions, and the occasional house. Not only in the search for sustenance, but also some shut-eye. That's how long this trip was. Felt like an eternity. Early morning, I arrived into the small town of Rosewood, and it had no shortage of a dead population still idly walking. Navigating the streets and swirling crowds, I searched for somewhere to park. Hesitant to stop and be overrun within the minute, I kept prolonging the decision. The game, however, has a habit of making these decisions for you.
The car died. No, Eleanor, don't start, don't start.
Ultimately, I parked the car. Better now by choice than later in the middle of a train wreck.
I think I can do this.
My spiked bat managed to do a fine job, and thinking we were in the clear...
Okay, there's one more. Oh, there's so many more. Never mind.
Every time I thought I was safe and got out of the car, there were 20 zombies coming up behind me. The car just made too much noise.
Maybe I jump into another car and just turn on the alarm. If I can find one.
After postponing my plan for another run around, I thought this as good a place as any.
I'm gonna try something.
That something was quickly hindered by the door being locked, inducing a slight panic. There was a field just beyond the fence, so I slowly dragged them over there before smacking my way back to the car. And this time I had enough time to break the window and feel the upholstery on my tush.
Okay, we do the same thing again then.
A fine plan. This time paired with the snacking on a granola bar and washing it down with some vitamins. With them out of the way, I tripped back over the fence, scratching myself.
Oh, goddammit.
Instinctively, I navigated into device options. Trying to set off the car alarm, I instead turned on a mute radio station and started honking the horn. For the record, I had no idea if you could manually set off a car alarm. It was all guesswork, and I didn't have enough time to find out, so I made a getaway toward my own car again.
Oh, Ooh. Ooh. Okay. I'm fine. We're fine. We're fine.
I needed another plan, or perhaps just proper execution, but I left the town of Rosewood for now. I toyed with the idea of an explosion to draw them away, but how I'd ever build a bomb out of ripped jeans, a gas can, and a screwdriver was well above my pay grade. While contemplating, I set course for Muldraugh, hoping for something less dense and ideally less dead.
Yeah, there you go. That's what happens.
I stopped at a diner, thinking I only had 2 zombies after me, but the highway crowd came truckling in right after. It wasn't just the main road either. Even the industrial buildings on the edge of town were crawling. A combustible solution popped into my head. I was sure I'd seen a Molotov in the crafting menu, something I'd investigate later. For now, I parked the car just north of town, popping any strays that had caught my scent, banging the ball spot like a bullseye, then making a note of where I left my car. I intentionally took the common route south for its visibility, giving me a clear vision of any flesh-hungry creatures.
Oh, now, all of a sudden, there's quite a few coming my way. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah, that seems reasonable.
It was all a failure. I couldn't even get into town on foot, so I turned around. Some would call this running away. I preferred to think of it as running towards something else. To a couple of police patrols. They were decked out enough to give me more than a few firearms, supply me with gas, and another roadblock. A broken lock meant breaking the passenger window, hopping inside, switching seats, only to find the boot already unlocked.
Trunk is unlocked.
That's a lot of extra steps for the same results, but in the end I got a shotgun and a few shells.
I'm trying to avoid as many of you as possible, but you're making it really hard. Oh, yeah, someone was hiding behind the tree.
I was doomed to travel down this entire highway when I took a wrong turn.
How is the road not connected through here?
Where's the on-ramp? Shame on you, road architect. You can't expect me as a driver to follow directions while simultaneously parrying every zombie coming into my path. A fair bit off to the next crossing, with an obvious stop at another set of police patrols. There, I rediscovered the ways of melee combat, backing up and throwing down. Glorious. And glorious was the police motorcycle helmet and a third roadblock now in my possession. When I finally did reach the highway junction, the car situation looked promising.
Might this be a food truck or something? Please?
Apparently that would have been way too convenient. I rummaged through each and every boot of this car cemetery, whilst also siphoning every drop of gas I could muster, accidentally forgetting to pull out the bat while smashing this window.
This is fucking Yeah, remove the glass.
It is apparently too much to ask for the character to remember the old long blunt carrying out these smashing commands. So I was now hemorrhaging from my beat-up hand. Late, hungry, and in extreme pain, with the nearest known bed practically in another state, I was out of options.
I can't drive the entire way back. It's too damn far. I need to go from here all the way up there. That is way too far.
But I hadn't completed my rummage, uncovering a jack from the last available boot.
I'll get gasoline for days now.
That was my cue to move on. Having learned nothing, I applied the same failing strategy in this city, desperation for shelter being my only excuse.
Okay, no, it's a bad idea.
It was a bad idea the other 8 times I tried this. Expecting anything different now might just be the definition of insanity.
I don't know why there's so many... I've asked the same question now 50 times. Shut up already.
A quiet trip down the parallel road, I looked for an absent place to park the car. The morning chill had now taken a hold, and I had not acquired a set of warmer clothes. No matter, I worked up some heat.
This way, Rob Zombie. Damn, I am the one exterminator.
I flipped through the trees.
I know I'm tired. I know it's chilly. I know I'm hungry. I know I'm in pain. The odds are stacked against us.
Nothing out of the ordinary, really.
Even my stomps are half-assed when I'm this tired, hungry, and in pain. Can't even do a curb stomp correctly now. I'm so tired.
Unable to carry out a proper curb stomp is a sure sign of exhaustion. The diner across the road offered some hope in an otherwise grim outlook.
I'm checking the garbage now for food. I'll take anything at this point. Larvae, insects.
I would, however, try the diner before cramming garbage maggots in my face hole.
I'll remove the glass for you, buddy. Are you taking the door?
Utterly exhausted, even my spiky bat had lost its edge. It took a full 20 minutes to crack these bad boys. Most food in the fridge had gone stale except a lonely tomato. But don't disregard what happiness a bag of coffee can bring you. I grabbed that, the sugar and the mug, went over to the sink to fill it with water, and while there, took the opportunity to replenish my water bottles as well as giving myself a good rub down. Able to add coffee to the mug, my interest peaked.
Ooh. Ooh.
Luckily for me, the power grid was still strong and I didn't have to enjoy it cold.
It's cooking! It's working! It's working!
As you can tell, I was really excited for the prospect of a delicious hot brew. It did take the edge of my hunger, but being on the verge of blacking out, it solved very little. I do consider it a crafting success though. In the house on over, I found some ketchup with even more coffee, and I was happy to see fresh items in the refrigerator. But in fear of parasites, I was reluctant to eat the ham uncooked, so I grabbed a carton of eggs, thinking I could boil them in a kettle of water. There was no such option. The oven was clearly the better option, yet I cracked them straight down the hatch, uncooked. From my understanding, this is a very bad idea, unless you want food poisoning, nausea, and unhappiness. Then it's a very good idea. Nevertheless, I remained healthy for the time being with one less issue to deal with.
Maybe I sleep on the floor in here, actually.
I snoozed away the day to wake up at midnight, hungry for some eggs. This time I had the forethought to cook them properly. Unable to sleep again, I braced the dark. In the past, this might have stopped me, but I was flush with courage, willpower, and complacency, and severely lacking food and sleep. So yes, the decisions were compromised. Surprised, I didn't encounter a single dead person. And with this serendipitous unobstructed door, I walked into a retail facility. In a more luscious set of circumstances, I would have dubbed this sugary shelf trash. But in my current reality, this was welcome sustenance. There were more snacks and items on the main floor.
These are no counters. I can't find anything in them. Oh, I can. I can find matches. So I can light up a smoke.
Praised be, random store. I owe you. Drowsy, not tired enough for sleep, I did a set of burpees to drain the last of my energy. But sleep, however, continued to elude me, and with an early morning rise, I opted to eat an egg instead. Still weak, my boot had to work overtime while inflicting minimal damage with each stomp. Legs now spongy and bruised, I found myself on the other side of the forest, where the old inn of the Rusty Rifle was kind enough to provide me with a few non-perishables as well as a bed of average quality, sealing my circadian rhythm as completely out of whack. I continued toward more residential areas, cutting a path through my favorite biome. With exhaustion, hunger, and anxiousness now subsided, my bat was back to its former crushing ways. This was good news, as zombies were in every direction. But don't underestimate a nice, thick forest. But I might have overestimated my sneaking abilities, and the quality of this residential area. It didn't look particularly rich in resources.
Canned goods, canned goods, canned goods. There's nothing in this little shitty apartment. There's nothing.
I didn't want to be hindered by my pain, so I took a painkiller, chased it with vitamins, and then jumped out the same way I came.
This is where cat eyes would be favorable.
A perk I'd yet to unlock.
This is what I've been after.
I simply can't get enough of the canned sweetness, but my new obsession was eggs, a healthy snack. Not so healthy was the sleeping and antidepressants tablets I found in the bathroom, but they had their time and place too.
I'm gonna sit in this corner and wait out the night. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No. Minor pain again? Are you serious?
Yeah, my left hand had still not healed and was causing a great deal of pain.
Whoop! Ah! Wow! Phew, you scared the poop out of me! Ah!
By a synchronized somersault, these clowns fell to the ground. Once I grabbed the last canned food from this house, I hopped on over to the building across the street. It was dark, and judging by the variety of materials I found on the shelves and boxes, I'd say it's some sort of warehouse. Anyway, there were a lot to be gobbled.
Maybe I can drive in here if I open the... Okay, now it's open at least.
The nearby taxi was in good enough condition to serve as a getaway vehicle if I needed. But it turned out the station wagon was in even better shape, so I siphoned the gas from the taxi into my new prospect. I then de-encumbered myself, quite a bit actually, and took a look inside the second warehouse after securing the immediate perimeter. It was a glorious sight, kind of like when Gandalf risks a little more light and reveals Dwarrowdelf to the party. Mesmerizing. Yes, that was the feeling. Too much for one man to bear. I selectively chose a propane torch and then went through each and every shelf looking for a welder mask required for welding purposes.
Come on, give me the mask. Give me the mask I'm looking for. Welder mask! Baby!
I knew I wouldn't be able to carry away this amount of material, so I marked the map accordingly, then studied the required path I need to take to get back to my truck and trailer. No shortcuts allowed. The truck was stocked with food. I couldn't leave it. I did stop for some gas and got my first point in first aid, replacing the bandage from my blood-soaked hand. I then applied my regular car shenanigans.
Put your foot to the pedal, to the metal, to the bottom of the metal, to the plate. Metal. What? Me! Why did I do that? I just broke a leg or something. Ah!
That little stunt cost me roughly a third of my health. Astonishingly, I made it back to my truck in one piece.
I think a couple of painkillers would suit me well now.
I'm not one to shy away from a good numbing drug. Almost a psychedelic, my truck and trailer were now absolutely filled to the brim. Not one more item would fit. I decided to leave the station wagon, but withdrew the last fumes before hitting the long road home that awaited me.
Okay, let's go. It's been a successful raid topside. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! For
the first time in a while, I felt ahead.
Oh, I'm just gonna take a step back and appreciate what I've done so far. 16 days or something. Ooh!
This would be one of my longest commutes yet. I was dead tired, but I counted on arriving home at a reasonable hour and reclaiming my circadian rhythm. In truth, my attention span is the real enemy. History suggests this ends with me crashing into something, but it was my car that suddenly died again. Fortunately, it was just a hiccup.
Howdy, cowboy. Bye, cowboy. Get cowboy.
Like I said, I arrived back home at a very reasonable hour. Reasonable enough for me to break open and savor a can of tuna, wash up and refill my water bottles.
I need this needle. I don't know if twine works. I think I need thread.
But there was no thread in sight, only a bulky string of twine, usually reserved for thick-skinned swine. But as it turns out, thread was superfluous when handling a suture needle. I could stitch my hand right shut. Finally, the wound that had been pestering me for days was now taken care of. The needle was a one-time use, by the way. My shelves were not at capacity, so I chucked the rest of my overbearing items into the filing cabinet and took a delightful 14-hour snooze.
Today is the day we check what's inside here.
With my new torch and welder mask, I could finally melt away the hinges to get through this metal door.
Yes, I'm a welder. I'm an oil man. Hey, did I get anything? Unusable metal, door hinge, doorknob. Okay, cool. More stuff. Box of nails, trowel, hand scythe, screwdriver, rake. Bunch of good stuff that I already have. Okay, cool.
I might have had them in my possession, but I clearly lack the mental capacity to use them. So what's up with the attitude, Babaganush?
Can I cut down wood? Trees. With the axe.
An obvious stretch of my imagination, but turns out you can. And it's a great source of logs.
Okay, log, tree branch. Crafting, survival, camping, okay. Everything is apparently needed.
I made a log pile inside the fences and then set up the 2 roadblocks, covering off one of the sides. I obviously then tested the integrity of my new zombie obstruction, rigorously.
I can't even traverse the roadblocks. Okay, that's good. So I could probably park the car here to block them off.
And create a gate situation. But that was work for another day. With a solid circadian rhythm like this, I wouldn't want to jeopardize it. Bit of a skewed priority, really. You'd think blocking off neuron-hungry forest dwellers would be top of the list. Before I shut myself off from the outside world with my sedan, I moved everything from the truck and trailer, leaving behind a bit of canned goods so not to forget it for the next trip. It took multiple trips back and forth.
More crap. It's not even crap, it's good stuff. I mean, it's a lot of weapons. I just don't know what to do with everything.
It sure isn't crap. My crafting abilities are though. I'd also like to blame the subpar UI again. It's too much for my mushy brain. Or too little. Anyway, upon removing my snare trap I'd set weeks before, I realized you could add peanut butter to it. The only sort of bait I had on me. This was obviously the main reason I'd yet to catch a moose. I removed it not to damage it while gently parking up the car for a movable blockade.
Yeah, that works. Maybe I can increase my mechanical skills by just uninstalling the battery and installing it again.
That was the sort of plan that required a screwdriver, as well as a hearty dish.
Now I'm like super safe. I could just stay here forever. Too bad I can't. I don't have enough canned goods and I don't have any farming.
I started the day with a book on carpentry and then maniacally uninstalled and reinstalled the battery of Old Red. After 30 revolutions or so, I checked my progress.
Experience 1.5.
Here's the exposition. That's a very low figure, considering the amount of work involved. I hovered over the rest to see additional options to play with, and they all required tools. Among them a lug wrench, a tire pump, and a jack. With intention to take the wheel off, I mistakenly took it for the front right brake and concluded I missed the advanced mechanics skill. I should have realized my mistake when the recommended skill level was at 7 for loosening a lug nut. Advanced mechanics was the apparent king. The requirement persuaded me to go into woodworking instead, refining logs into planks, almost instantaneously bumping up my carpentry skill. To be fair, I did a lot of processing. I got well above 30 refined planks.
Make splint. Ooh, yeah, like for fractures and stuff. Let's make them all. Twigs. No!
I accidentally made 14 splints, using up 14 planks.
Good to know. Now I can break as many legs as I want.
With my driving, this could turn out to be a very probable reality. Converting logs to planks was not enough for me to really get my carpentry prowess to a new level. For this, I would need nails. Out of the 3 available options of a wooden sign, a wooden cross, and flooring, I made a campfire, and then decided to lay down the foundation of a new shed.
Maybe a little shed over here?
Happy with this size, I grew tired of putting together floorboards.
Let's create a sign here somewhere. Zombies keep out.
To further persuade the dead to stay out, I sprinkled the sign with a consecrated cross.
Beautiful.
A break from the rain, I noticed my water supply from the industrial sink had now dried up. All remaining was 2 water coolers. And I put my sharp head into deciphering the crafting menu again.
Electrical. Dismantle. Crafted trigger, noise make. Ooh.
That would sure have been a good thing to have driving away zombies from a high contested area.
Okay, cool. Can't do anything though. I just want to see what I can craft. Is that so hard?
I was at my wit's end with this menu. You're welcome to point out my stupidity in the comments, by the way, but be gentle.
I can make a Molotov cocktail. Get some bleach or whatever container I can, remove that and fill it with gasoline and I can make Molotov cocktail. How do I increase my mechanics? I can't do anything.
I adhere to the professional zombies of Reddit.
Read something about removing like a radio, but I didn't see this as an actual option, so... Oh, maybe you can, like... No, you can't. Oh, yeah, radio. Uninstall. Yay! Awesome.
I of course went through every option to see its availability after that. Still, there wasn't much I could do, except removing the head and taillights.
This is gonna give me some experience, I think. So apparently you can only get experience for uninstalling and installing 1 part per car per day. So you can't just keep doing this.
I think it's even worse. It's like 1 part for a car per day.
Yay, 9 experience. I'm well on my way to become a mechanic.
To be honest, this shouldn't have been my main concern anyway. It was already August, and in a couple of months, winter will be upon us. I've yet to dig a furrow or plant a single seed. After a bit more research, I decided to install another mod, this time auto mechanics. Supposedly, it automates and optimizes car work entirely, but I literally never got it to work. I gave up my dreams of becoming a well-organized and efficient mechanic for a dash of sprinting, and spent the rest of the day sorting all my sustenance onto a single shelf. Waking up to a storm, my morale was shot from the moment I opened my eyes, so I employed my best coping mechanism and downed a bottle of bourbon. This put a stake in my second task of the day.
Oh, I shouldn't have drunk the bourbon. Dang.
Mistakes were made. Not the inebriation, that was numbingly glorious, but the assumption that I wouldn't need bourbon for a Molotov. Luckily, there was a solution. Refill the bottle with gas and use a rag for a fuse. But can you believe it? Not a single dirty rag was found on the property. Wanting to properly accomplish something, I set my sights on the small electrical substation, packing the propane tank and its peripherals. But I wouldn't leave in such a storm, so I closed off the perimeter. With the perimeter airtight, I noticed my conditioning had worsened. My stitched up wound was now infected, but after some cleaning, removing the stitches and applying a fresh bandage, it seemed better. A morning nap skewed my internal timer. At least the storm had passed and I could work myself to sleep, beginning with a set of burpees, followed by a rigorous chopping regime inside the perimeter, then sprinting until I could barely jog, missing only a few crucial experience points for level 1. Before noon on day 84, I double-checked my packing and prepared to move.
Yep.
My destination was back to Muldraugh, and the garages had yet to empty, though the road was long, so I fixated on a possible shortcut. Wheels finally turning, I could feel myself drifting slightly to the left.
The tire pressures is all whack.
I didn't need this extra challenge. I already had enough trouble staying on track on my own accord. So a quick recap back at home, and I realized I'd also left my backpack behind. Then, with a tire pump in hand, I inflated each tire to the limit. I wouldn't recommend doing this in real life. Do check for the optimal pressure for each wheel axle. Then again, I'm no mechanic. Ignore whatever it is coming out of my mouth. And obviously, we don't have to go overboard with realism here. Through maggots and beckets, there was another obstacle. A walking one. Serendipitously, its clothing was torn into rags for a possible Molotov. Of course, with one obstacle dealt with, another usually presents itself.
No. My left hand is bitten. Did I f*** up? Tell me I didn't f*** up. I've been bitten. Did I f*** you up? I f***ed up. No! No! I won't have this! No!
Denial can be a deadly thing.
Is a bite 100% infectious? Am I gonna become zombified? Or is it... Maybe it's cool? Maybe it's cool 50% of the time? Maybe it's cool. Maybe. I don't know.
It is unequivocally not cool. You're halfway to becoming a zombie there, buddy.
I mean, I'm just gonna... prepare for a new character. I'm gonna lock myself in or something. Remove all the stuff. Place them in a well-orderly fashion. In a drawer of some kind. Sad way to go out in this world. What a sad way. Get bitten in your left hand. In your left hand. I got bitten.
That left hand had endured more than any left hand ever should.
I'll become one with the woods.
Resembling Sasquatch, I roamed free. And of course, my sprinting efforts paid off in the end.
I'm just practicing.
Barefoot, I had trouble with my footing. Or maybe it was the panic-induced chase by the next Miss Olympia.
Damn, look at those arms, lady. You've totally skipped leg day, though. I don't respect it.
Buff as she was, I exploited her lethargic demeanor. And with insanity not far off, I stole her entire identity, excluding the obvious addiction to TRT. Limping forward, I announced myself for any hungry pedestrians.
Come and get me. Over here, hey you.
Vocal cords fried, a car would do my yelling for me. And suddenly my salvation came stumbling right in front of me. And I willingly, tenderly, yielded to death's cold embrace.
Just remember not to enter this car with a new character.
Or crawl in under it, because that's where I think my zombified self eventually ended up.
James Hinchcliffe. Oh yeah.
Downbeat, I was yet again punished for my lack of survivability and had to start again, resetting all my slow earned multipliers and correspondent skills. Admittedly, perhaps exactly where my narrow skill set belongs. Anyway, starting over, you know the drill. Endlessly hoarding and gearing up, collecting every resource within arm's reach. And a new character always infuses me with that bit of extra courage and arrogance, and I hardly ever sway from a fight. Naturally, my skin is violated immediately. Fearlessly, I'm excited spotting a boarded up house, which must mean other survivors, at least alive at some point. Inside, the place was as dead as any, though it carried what survivors most likely would have prioritized, like weapons and medical supplies. A few more go-arounds in the house nearby, I came upon a parking lot with a banged up car. It looked functional enough, though I ended up in another red sedan. I don't know why, must be something about the color red. I then reversed it for accessibility while hauling a ridiculous amount of food back and forth, leaving an IOU for every shelf. We might be a burglar, but we're an honest burglar. Also, it was a great way of alleviating some of that guilt. After a second car swap, where a station wagon took precedence over the color red, I went clubbing down Main Street.
And I choose door number 1.
And I chose a pair of boots, plus a lighter and matches, among other things. Come to think of it, gloves with a bit of defense would probably render me unstoppable in this game. but I digress. An office with a door was sufficient for a good snooze so that I could ignore the menacing banging coming from this door. But my resolve carries as much fortitude as my fear of starting over with a day-old character, which is to say, none. So while zombies broke out, I decided to break in.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
And with this claustrophobic near-death experience, I was suddenly very satisfied with my hoarding efforts and made for the car.
On the road again.
I might as well just get myself a recreational vehicle at this point.
I think for like day 100, I'm gonna pack my shotgun and I'm just, whoa.
As I was saying,
I'm gonna ride into town and I'm just gonna start blasting. Pew, 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 pew.
back again to my solitary paradise.
Yeah, baby.
First thing on the list was obviously a change of clothes to up my defenses again, followed by more than a bit of inventory management, and then banging my lack of literary skill against the wall again and again.
Eat, sleep, read, repeat.
Closing the chapter on mechanics, I went ahead with the practical approach, and having greased up today's quota, I got to work on fortifying my dear home's defenses, meticulously boarding up every single window. It required a whole lot of wood, which meant drilling a whole lot of new planks. With all these items at my disposal, space was a diminishing resource, so I wanted to build a simple crate for better organization. But I lacked the immense skill required to throw together a box of planks, so it was back to the monkey shop once more.
Boom! Hey, the battery pushed me over the edge. I'm a grease monkey.
Mobile again, with a welder's mindset, I headed toward the intriguing substation. It was closely guarded, so it must mean treasure was hidden within.
Yeah, I failed to produce any material, but I'm inside.
Almost inside.
We're in. I don't know what I'm supposed to do in here, but I've got 2 door hinges.
I got excited when I found a big hiking bag. Too bad it couldn't compare to my already very large backpack. Still far from Muldraugh, in a sea of zombies, a sentient lamppost made its move, compromising my car.
Last thing you want now is for your car to die.
Did you just forebodingly say something about your car dying?
Oh. Oh, I think the engine was actually...
Trash? A bit unreliable?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Vulnerable, I was banished to being a simple pedestrian, with zombies swarming in hot pursuit. Ironically, I lost them through a diner and could yet again focus on getting another car. Of course, there were walkers in my path, but in much smaller, manageable groups. And what kind of car did I get? You guessed it, a red sedan, my self-proclaimed favorite. The truck itself wasn't the priority, the trailer was. My only plan was to honk them all away. And if you're watching this footage, please don't alert the authorities. I'm a much better driver in real life, and I have absolutely no trouble driving and honking at the same time.
Whoop. They are swarming. Oh, shit. No. Okay, we're fine. I didn't even panic. For a second. Okay, I might have panicked a little bit.
Several hours and a long distance later, I finally let go of the world's most annoying sound. Guided, as always, by the wisdom of a chicken head signpost, I also abandoned this diversion to find shelter for the night.
Kentucky Fried Cock.
With the first suitable driveway, I parked the car, fighting my way through in pitch blackness. Too many deadly nightmen came wandering up, so I took a lap, breaking line of sight around the corner. Then, by either fearlessness, stubbornness, or sheer idiocy, I stayed the night in a house surrounded by zombies. Not the smartest decision, but it turned out alright. They were still around the next day, so a noon jog was exercised before I could make my escape. I didn't go to the trailer right away. Instead, I stopped by my old garage. After all, I was still stocked with items I'd yet been able to haul away, and this seemed like a good time to get it. A number of other greedy goblins had the same idea, so persistent they tore down my garage door. Handled, I stuffed the car with a diverse set of items, including seeds. What a win. Then arrived to see my diversion having failed miserably.
How am I supposed to do this? I can't get them to move.
Desperate, I employed a rather questionable spin attack before slowly strolling upwards in a zigzag pattern. To ensure success, I doubled back to catch any of the more lace decomposing material, and when I met up with the second horde, turned around lightning fast to retrieve the trailer. 2 determined bodies were still guarding it with their lives. Detached, I tried to tow away the truck. I don't know why that didn't work, but was surprised when I got the truck running again.
Oh, hey.
Stuck, I jumped out of the reverse drive-thru, but in the end, it only ended with me served up on a silver platter.
Oh, I'm so pissed off right now. I'm so pissed off.
Yeah, I'm sure you couldn't otherwise tell by my actions that I was a bit up in it after that whole ordeal. Anyway, there was still hope. I got to moving the truck, backed up the sedan, attached the trailer, and by late evening, I could move everything from the truck, dangerously speeding up time. Drifting away, this esteemed lady bit off one of my band-aids, causing me to violently hemorrhage. Nip and tuck, I got it plastered with a new bandage.
Oof. Oh.
I found it best to park up eat some, taking a few painkillers, and then sleep in the car, replenishing my health overnight.
Wheezy, take things easy. No. No.
So far, I believe I've always turned into a zombie when the dreaded queasy moodle have shown up. Finally on track home again, I could tell I'd subconsciously given up on James. At least judging by my complete lack of judgment.
Don't you know that my car's still standing? My f***ing car just died, it's back on track.
Arriving back home, I figured I might as well take matters into my own hands. But the sweet release would have to come naturally, unnaturally.
Guess we go die. Again.
I locked myself inside my old station wagon, removed my bandages, and then waited. And I didn't have to wait that long. At the risk of overly repeating myself, this game is hard. It was time to carry out the 100-day exit plan and go out with a bang. Like, literally. But before I could do that, I needed to be punished. From the perspective of the game, of course. Though it could just as easily have been masochism at this point. Shell-shocked, my Shaun of the Dead here got bit 3 tiny steps outside the door. So I gave my whole self to the first best cluster I found and then respawned as Mel Lambert.
Is it the exact same house?
Correct. Sean's body had not even gone cold yet. I picked up a fork from 2 suspected cutlery enthusiasts. The silverware, however, was of low-grade quality and instantly broke. Turns out cutlery is not a long-term survival strategy. I collected and was fairly well off when I blindly jumped over a tall fence. I, of course, basically land in the jaw of this zombie hobo and more or less give up.
Alright, fine.
Unbothered with the consequences, my inner lunatic took delight and I had a blast. The shotgun was a weapon I could finally wield with some success, until I ran out of shells.
Ah! Ah! What the f- Do I have a mohawk?
I was shocked and surprised to find a mohawk of such excellence hiding under such a snug beanie. The mohawk then magically disappeared when I applied a band-aid to my temple. A weird set of events, made only weirder by it reappearing while getting torn to shreds.
Don't look at this!
Gary Bonglehead here was in a state of constant panic, running from one pack to another until he served himself up on a silver platter. And that was the end of Gary.
I'm in the shower! Ah!
You find me trying to hotwire a car in the middle of a mob, and successfully so.
Hail Satan, bitches!
Obviously my joy ran out at the exact same time as my fuel.
Come on, baby, don't quit on me now!
It quit, my car quit, and I had to walk for miles and miles. I couldn't help recklessly compromise myself when I saw this cab.
No. No! No!
You sons of bitches!
I was uplifted with a great boost of confidence when I laid eyes on old Bob.
You first came into this world and you'll be the last to exit it.
Taking all bets, I also offer video poker.
You're gonna see me now, aren't you? Yes, you are. But I'm ready, because I'm Bob Tinkletower, bitch.
I was Bob. At least until noon that same day.
Guys, I'm getting so tired. I'm getting so tired right now.
My suspected sacrifice, Joanna McEaton, got off to a surprisingly wonderful start, acquiring a car within minutes, and miraculously I only hit 1 tree finding my way back to base. That's a new personal record. Kurt was still roaming the grounds, a sledgehammer to the temple put an end to his reign, and to waste as little time as possible, which I ended up doing later anyway, I geared up. Grabbed 4 shotguns cause 1 is apparently not enough, loaded up shells, and lest I forget, snatched a pack of smokes. And for reasons I can't explain, I got my campfire kit out and got a fire started.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
Riding toward my destiny, I made sure my equipment was up to par and ready to go.
Hell yeah.
No faults there. I was then back to my usual useless self behind the wheel, but I didn't really mind ramming down a few extra souls in my way anyway. It was all part of the plan. Marked earlier, I pulled up to my designated building to carry out this holy act of terror.
On your left, on your left. Clear.
A scythe stab here, a couple of missed shots there, and I could make my way to the top of the building. I dropped down a floor, probably snapping my leg, but it's cool. I would have used a chair if I knew how to sit anyway. Then finally, fired away. And as soon as the first bullet hit, I was loving it. I cleared a whole bunch, drawing in more with every shot fired.
14, 15, 16, 20, 21.
This went on for some time.
28. I'm doing my part.
Then came a freak accident.
God, I wish I had a Molotov. What? No! What the f just happened? I fell down. Oh! Oh! They'll never take me alive because I'm dead. Yes, I'm dead.
After 100 days, I finally came to terms with me joining the hive mind. I was probably already there a few weeks ago, to be honest. I dare to say for a professional idiot like myself, this game was incredibly hard to figure out. Would I ever jump in again, which I'm sure I'll do, I did enjoy myself, the goal would surely be to survive 100 days continuously and get a proper survivalist base going. And if you're still here, it was great having you. And until next time,
eat your vegetables.